That's awesome.
That's funny.
And I actually, my one roll was good so far.
+4. And I get an extra 1. Yeah.
Beauty.
How do you add in hit die?
I hit the magnifying glass next to your class and level, and it brings up a thing where it has hit dice used, and you can just reduce that number.
Last level. Okay. Thanks.
You'd think it would be down by where the hit die thing is, but it's not. Well, it makes sense.
No.
Well, no, but it, especially for like multi-classing, it's showing what your class stuff is. So it kind of makes sense, but it's
But at the same time, you'd think it would be near the hit dice thing.
That it would be in that
section. Remind me, where are the 10 hit points on Archie and Jonah coming from? Where'd you guys get that from? I just wonder if there's time limit on it.
24 hour. It's 24 hours.
24. Okay, that's all I wanted to know is how long it lasted. Because usually temporary hit points aren't permanent.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lunchtime tomorrow, we might be a little sluggish.
Sure.
DC 15 con save or
Oh,
poison.
right.
Yeah.
The drug.
The riot root.
The riot root. Oh my god. Archie is going to be so paranoid when she's in town because she's just like, I've just taken an illegal substance. They're going to know. Everyone's going to know.
Oh my god. Be cool, guys. Be cool.
Well,
Cool.
I mean, it's gone. It's gone now, though. So, like, there's nothing to catch you with.
He in the sky, please. Random screen.
Well,
If we do get stopped, Jonah's got to eat all the riot.
Well,
fruit.
actually, I guess the D&D equivalent would be
all at the same time.
there's a clergyman from the Temple of Sune casting detect poison and disease on everybody to see if anyone's been taking illegal drugs. Step right over here,
or
please.
Zone of Truth.
You've been randomly selected going through the gate.
Someone forced it into him. It was awful.
Archie's like
not because we're conspicuous.
A crown guard looks at Archie is like, hey, so, and then Archie just immediately starts. I'm sorry.
And do it again.
I know, it's so obvious. I'm high.
The note made me do it.
Life and death, I swear. We were fighting this vampire. It's okay, crazy lady, come with us.
Yeah.
No, she's just gonna be behind her brother.
Just pull your hat down lower over your eyes.
So, so what did we get there? We had 1, 2, 3, 4 medicine kit charges gone, and also two torches were used in that dungeon as well.
Mm.
I did use one that I had. Yeah.
Get the torch.
I had torchlight on. Oh, you know what? No, just one torch. The torch light that was on Aelin was his special ability. It wasn't actually a torch.
Yeah, I took a torch off and so I did.
Okay. Well, okay, so you guys rest a bit. Poe doesn't really have much else to say. You guys have kind of already talked to him. You at this point you know as much as he does. So, at least about the current situation. So you guys finish up your meal because he had put out some fruit and stuff. Bandage up your wounds. This is just a quick rest, just 15 minutes, and then you're moving on? Or are you actually staying an hour for a short rest?
I think it was just a
bandage up and
clean up.
Finish wiping whatever it is all over us off.
Yeah, finish prestidigitationing the gross off.
Yeah,
the gross.
I think
who would have thought there'd be so much blood in a giant heart?
I think it was more of the vampire that went skadoosh.
Yeah, maybe for you.
I was nowhere near that.
You weren't 5 feet away from a heart punching the shit out of it.
Quillen would be kind of looking over the hinges and joints and stuff in his armor and making sure that it's all getting dried out, and he's being very meticulous about the craftsmanship of his stuff and doesn't want shit getting dried and gross in there.
All right. Just reminder, you do have that magic mace, but you need at least a short rest to identify it. So you don't know what that does yet. Oh,
I also
Get
just
there.
want to float this out there. If there's time after we finish our little tour up here, uh, if it's before curfew, we should absolutely go to the bathhouse.
I mean, yeah, sure. But I mean, Jonah, is that okay with you? I know that you said it was like kind of nutty.
Oh yeah, but I'm bringing my full armor.
All right, yeah, I'm in. No, I'm in.
Bathing in armor.
he's sitting there with his wands in the bathtub.
Yeah, I know what's gonna happen.
Are you cleaning your wand in the bath?
All right.
Don't
Well,
look at me.
you
That's a
guys,
euphemism for.
you guys head back up to the gate. They see you coming. Open up the gate to let you back in. Nod to you as you walk through. Which way are you going once you're inside?
To the left.
Well, do we want to go back through the souk, or do we want to go north and then south and down through? So just like up
Let's go north. I feel like it'll be a little faster than
around the old big
yeah.
and then down.
Yeah, the souk was pretty crowded.
Yeah.
One thing you'll notice as you walk northwards towards the gem market, the dig that's kind of like in the ground with those posts around it with the rope that's roped off, is about 3/4 full of like stagnant looking water. It hasn't drained away anywhere. But otherwise, looks the same. Probably very short time. These streets back here are not nearly as busy as the ones down below, so you can make your way fairly quickly. When you get to the gem market, it is you will notice a few more guards and mercenaries around, just keeping an eye on things. But is there any reason to stop? Or are you guys, which way are you going from here? Are you gonna go south? Or
I think
are
we're
you
gonna
go
swing
north?
south.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna swing south through the gate straight to the office.
I'll come back here on another day.
Okay. Heading south, when you reach this, coming into this kind of southern square with the fountain, there is a lot of people around here as well, in the side streets and the alleys, just people all over the place. You do see, moving about the populace, you do see probably 10 or more Sokola worshippers. About a half dozen of them gathered around the fountain, like the other one down south. But the rest just kind of like moving about. They definitely clock you as you move on through, but none of them approach you or say anything or do anything to you.
They're gonna eat me.
Archie, I think you could kill them all single-handedly,
When you,
non-lethally.
non-lethally. You can kill them all non-lethally. So probably about, I don't know, 15 minutes after you left Pose or so, with no stops, you'd reach this gate to the harbor ward, or at least to the, I guess the Royal Docks is what I'm trying to say, on the northern part of the harbor ward. There are pretty strict. Jonas rolls a nat 20 on a con save. Good job. Not sure what you're rolling for, but you're also muted.
You're muted,
so.
John.
Here's my Kth roll.
Ah, damn
Built up that tolerance, apparently.
it.
You know what we should do? We should compress this very tightly into a more concentrated
Concentrate.
You gotta infuse it with nitrogen.
yeah. Put some whipped cream on top. Blend it. Frappuccino. Anyways, so, yeah, there's a bunch of guards they're not stopping people from moving through, but you notice a distinct lack of vagrants, I suppose, on the other side of the docks or of the gate. And it takes you maybe another, unless you stop again, takes you another, like, I don't know, 5 minutes or so to before you're climbing the hill up towards the harbor master office. Nothing really seems to have changed in and around the royal docks. I guess the only thing I would say is there is still one of the very large, I don't know if it's a galleon, if that's the right term, but very large ship flying the Order of the Gilded Eye. I couldn't remember the name of them. Standards is still in the harbor there, with Order people kind of guarding it on this middle dock here. Or, not this one. This one. I can't. There. This one. Yeah, and there's the harbor master office, looking out over the bay. It's like 2:30, we'll say now.
Knock on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Head in. See if we can.
What's this guy's name? What's this guy's name, by the way?
Hold on. I got it.
Zindar.
Zindar. Yeah.
Zindar. Okay.
Port Nyanzaru.
And he's part dragon.
He's
Does he like? Should I not say? Well. First of all, does Quillen know that this guy is the Utepka leader or whatever? I don't know if that's ever come up.
I would assume we would have mentioned it before heading out, like in general conversation.
Okay.
Knowing that, you're part of the Utepka.
Okay. Then, yeah, never mind. Yeah, all good.
Yeah, I would think we would have told you.
Sorry, you guys are funny.
I mean, if not, I feel like Quillen might infer from, well, we better go talk to the leader. All right, we're at this place.
All right. Well, I guess I probably would say, you guys think I should not, say that I know that, who you are or whatever? Should I just be like, oh, look, I'm new here. I'm in port. What's happening?
No, I think lying to him would be a bad idea.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Also, just, I mean, your connection with the, our mutual connection.
Very good.
I think is
down low
would be beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that will garner you trust with him, so that he won't just want to.
And
kick
I will be forthright.
Yeah, I think that's best.
Just wasn't sure if this guy was like a total hard ass, and he'd be like, you said who I was and blah blah blah. Well, now I'm gonna murder you guys or something. I don't know.
I mean, my thing.
Well, that escalated fast.
I don't know. I've never met him, so I want to know who we're dealing with before we go in.
Okay.
But sounds like should be fine.
Do the secret knock? Do you know the secret knock?
Let's just walk in. Let's go in. We're going
Let's just walk in.
I was gonna have some fun with him.
You enter into the large building. There is a waiting area with chairs and a big desk. There's an old lady there, scribbling down stuff in random ledgers and stuff. She looks up as you enter.
Hello.
She waves kind of like unenthusiastically at you. She's like, It's like, yes, what can I do for you?
The ray of sun is Shining bright as ever. The harbor master. Is he in?
She kind of looks up, peering over her bifocals. Yes, they have advanced eye technology. And
Magic.
she kind of squints at you all, and she's like, he may be. Do you have an appointment?
No, but I guess we'll let him know. I guess just like I'll give him my name and.
Blackwind and the Blade Fangs.
Sounds like a really bad cover band.
It's like a Norwegian death metal band. Blackwind and the Blade.
We have some pertinent information that he may interest him.
It's like, oh, well, that's great. And she kind of flips through this leather-bound book. She's like, all right.
Mr. Bailey.
Wait here. She kind of stands up, grabs her cane, and kind of like walks over into the back.
This is where we saw the handouts for the jungle guides, right?
Yeah, they're on the board there.
I want to check the board and see if there's just been any new additions or any removals.
Farul.
Yeah, Ferrul and Gondola are no longer on the board. Neither is Salida or Azaka.
God.
I mean, we didn't hire Farul.
No, we just got him killed.
We
didn't even have to hire him to get him killed.
Let's see here. Who else is there? Iku notice is still there. And Hugh Hackenstones is still there. Musharib's note is removed. As is there's no sign of the Tabaxi, River Misker Flask of Wine, the one that was kind of like tacked below it. That's not there either.
Wow.
They left with the Zakarum, did they?
So it looks like right now there's only Iku and Hugh currently. Oh, and Kawasha.
That was
the druid, right?
Which is the druid. Yeah. But
She's
his notice
stationed
still.
out there.
Yeah, his notice still states that he is stationed at Port Belmarian to inquire there. So it seems whether he's still there, the notice here hasn't changed either way.
Boy, you'd think that some new guides would come in to fill the void, but
maybe they're not used to losing so many so quickly.
And none of it was our
bad
fault.
luck lately. Tough run of things.
Yeah. So yeah, Hugh and Iku basically and Kwasha are the only ones currently sitting there. Notices for hire. And a couple moments later, the woman comes back out and she says, "All right. He will see you. Go on in," and kind of points to this big door behind her.
Just as we're like passing her to go in, I just want to. Can I just be like, I know this is incredibly rude of me, but what was your name again?
She points at the plaque sitting at the edge of her desk with her name on it, and it says, "I'm just kidding." Actually, how good's your passive perception? 10?
Not good. Well, that's
normal human.
That's normal human.
Yeah.
Okay, you notice you're not oblivious to the world. Yeah, her name is Merwin, I believe. I think I'm right about that. Yeah, Merwin.
What kind of drugs does she do?
Not the happy kind.
Merwin Keenseeker, head clerk.
All right. Then I would just say thank you, Merwin. We'll hit it.
She's very greedy and prone to violence, according to this.
Oh.
That tracks.
Just the ray of sunshine, like I said.
But she's also a 70-year-old woman with a cane, so she's not exactly
Prone to
dangerous.
violence, I love it.
Or is she? She is the number one.
I think she'd probably just kind of like sit back down. And she'd be like, "It's okay. I don't remember your name either."
Cool.
Blackwind and the Blade Fangs.
That's fine.
Now featuring Quillen.
Just don't like to be one. Alright.
All right. Inside there is a large man, well, sort of man, behind the
Half man.
He's got a very large, very kind of cushy office, leather couches, large chairs. There's like a bar on the one side, bookcases lining a couple of the walls, huge windows that kind of give him a very wide view of the bay. It's kind of like right in the corner, so he can see almost like 180. You can see the Temple of Severus off to the north. You can see the lighthouse the other direction, and then just like vast open sea to the west, to the east. Or wait, no, this is rotated, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. This whole map is rotated. North is to the right on the Port Nyanzaru map.
Yeah. Ugh.
I know, I hate it. It's so stupid. Just put it. Anyways, I guess because it's longer that way, it's easier to fit on a one-page map. Otherwise, it'd be like a two-page spread. Like, I get it, but
turn the page.
well, no, because it's longer, right? If you print it in a book, right? If you didn't want to squish it, you'd have to.
11 by whatever, 16. Top to bottom. If they let you rotate it with your map editor, that would be at least something.
Oh yeah.
Just turn your monitor upside down.
All the text would be
Just turn my
sideways,
monitor on
though.
the side. I wonder if there's a way to rotate. I probably have to save it rotated.
Yeah, like you probably could like access the raw JPEG or whatever, take that into photo editor, rotate it, and then just import that as a new image asset.
Someone actually, I'm pretty sure somebody actually did that, but it didn't have any of the pins or anything on it, and I didn't want to have to redo all that. So I just kind of said, "Fuck it." Because I got a lot of pins on this map. I didn't want to redo them all.
For this, it doesn't matter that much where north is. To be honest,
I mean, honestly, you could just say that this is just the orientation of Port Nyanzaru. Forget what the compass says. North is north.
North,
east is east.
yeah. I mean, we know it's where it is and how it's situated. So.
Paper north. Actually, it's what we do in construction a lot too, right? It's
Harbor master.
Construction north is north on the paper.
There you go.
Zindar.
So cool.
Zindar.
Why does he look like he's getting ready to attack us?
Yeah, Zindar, is everything okay?
Oh God.
Have at thee, Blade Fangs, we meet again! No, he's a very large man. He's about 7 feet tall. He has got golden glittering scales. You would at first think maybe he's a dragonborn, if not for his large tail. Dragonborn don't have tails, typically. He is in fact a half-dragon, and of gold descent. In very nice, well-to-do robes, the office badge of the harbor master hanging around on a heavy chain around his neck, and he's kind of standing, kind of staring out the window with his hands clasped behind his back. He turns as you enter the office, and he says, "Ah, you've returned, my friends. Welcome back to port. Well, glad am I to see you." And then he kind of looks Donaquin up and down, looks over at Quillen, and he says, New additions, I see."
They are trustworthy.
Here the whole time.
He's a
They frisk much.
ninja turtle.
Or she just starts crying, having to have the conversation of where's Baz every single time they talk to somebody.
Baz,
Baz
Baz
loved-
loved new things.
And old things. He
yeah.
liked the air.
happy to make your acquaintance.
He nods and he's like, and he kind of like gestures for you to close the door. Whoever's last in the room.
Not it.
Then he gestures to the couches, and he says, "Well, sit. Tell me all about your adventures."
Okay. Thanks.
Oh,
Wait,
I find
times
sitting on a couch very awkward.
exposition.
That's when you just kind of like fade to black as you see people's mouths moving, and then it comes back up, and he's like, "Wow, that's quite a tale."
Wait, can you tell it again, but slow?
The candles are down.
So
Burned down.
just in general, I mean you
Exposition.
you kind of work for this guy. Well, most of you. Is there anything you leave out or don't include for any reason, or anything you might lie about, just so I know
can't
what
think
he
of anything
knows?
myself.
I wouldn't offer the information that my sister and I are children of a beret, but if Araceli talks about it, I wouldn't stop her from talking about it.
I'd talk about it.
I just sort of look uncomfortable.
Quillen would explain sort of how he fits into the picture, about like with some trepidation, I think. Just like he trusts that this guy is who he says he is and whatever, but it's still a lot for him to be like to say anything about Moxanare, but he probably and eventually would. But yeah, and that he's kind of her personal guard and is helping
Number one fan.
helping these folks with a mission that will eventually be at her behest.
There is something I want to emphasize too. I want to make sure we talk or tell the part about our dreams being, I guess, haunted or whatever, and ask him if he knows much of old names.
Okay.
And if the name, I can never remember it. I have to look at my inventory. Yig, Rakzig, and then the light.
Light flares on.
Or maybe perhaps where we could look for this information, because it warded off the creature that was stalking me in my dream.
There is a library.
Yeah, but do I look like a book guy?
Well, but if you're wondering where we could find out more, maybe we could do research there.
But he's also a guy that looks like he knows things.
Yeah, no, but I'm responding to your second point, not your first point.
And one day I'm like, do I look like a guy that reads a lot of books?
Nope.
Because we tell oral histories.
I'm gonna.
Or perhaps he can help.
Okay. And what about anybody else? Has anything specific they want to leave out or emphasize? I just want to, before I start responding to anything, I just want to.
No, I tell them also basically the reason why I'm there, also that being rescued, everything like that, and life debt, and also to all of them for saving my life, and for hopefully also trying to get back home to help hopefully help bring back Baz, our friend, as well, things like that. And trying to track down also my brother also that I was separated from, things like that. But I don't leave anything out.
Okay.
I don't think I would mention much about artists. I don't think I would go into detail about that. So unless somebody else did, I don't think I would. I think I would like, and same with our mother stuff. I wouldn't go into all the detail. I just be like, well, I think we kind of, we found some information pointing to that this might be the case instead of all of the whole story. I think it would just be.
Do we share the point about when we killed that one terrafolk and it released seemingly the essence of the?
I mean, it was like everything that's died. It wasn't just
Released
the
the
terrafolk.
essence of the one beret though,
Oh,
and
oh,
seemingly set things in
Oh.
motion and opened
yeah.
up the portal.
He means something at
Seemingly added another.
Firefinger.
Mm-hmm.
The portal
Probably a
stuff,
good
yeah.
point.
I don't see there's no, they're the ones who
Yeah.
they know about the portal in
Are they
town.
are
so
they
I
aware
don't-
of the red portal? Because that was new for us.
That's a good question. Whether we caused that or if that was something that popped up previously.
I'm sure we'll think of more things, but
Sure. Yeah.
just a small list.
Just small. Yeah. So
I mean, a lot's happened since we've left. Let's
Yeah.
be fair.
I mean,
We're back sooner than we expected.
so he is in general. He is. I mean, he seems very interested in everything you guys are saying. He's not really. He doesn't seem all that invested or interested in any of the Mesro stuff. It just doesn't really concern what him or the Atepka's focus is. While it's very interesting, fascinating, and yes, perhaps long-term ramifications, something to keep in mind, it seems to him it's just like another weird thing you guys are encountering out in the jungle. If Mesro does indeed exist, I mean, that's very fascinating and could potentially be an issue for another day, kind of thing.
Did you mention that the Flaming Fist camp there got wrecked? Because that could potentially mean that maybe they're gonna come back here or something. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. There's no reason not to.
Because they were sort of building up their stronghold there, and now that that's seemingly gone, according to what.
I don't think they were building a stronghold there. They were just
Weren't they?
exploring it and
They
claiming
had
it for themselves. Their stronghold is at Fort Belwarian.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I mean, they had an outpost and it was attacked, so it's information about a threat, but
Yeah. I think if
just
we're
to keep in mind.
all the things that happened, if we don't mention omitting it, I think we tell him.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think
All right,
so.
fair enough.
Sure.
Whether he's super interested or not, it's still good for him to have the information.
Yeah, the whole all the stuff with the dreams and the name, all that kind of stuff. He basically is just kind of like, no clue what you're talking about. I have no idea. This all seems like mystical mumbo jumbo. Check with some maybe the temples. He's not really of any use in that regard. What he is very much interested in is this quest of yours to go to get the chalice. That he is very interested in. He says that seems Princess has finally decided to move forward with her plans. We knew eventually this was coming, and I guess he would ask you. So at this point, have you guys told him? Sorry, just because I'm just trying to do things in order. At this point, we'll assume you haven't quite got to the Ifan's the leader of the 12 piece yet.
No.
Okay.
I figured that would be the last piece.
Yeah,
would be
because it's the last. Because you're telling things chronologically, roughly.
Yeah.
So
Now that you're caught up, also.
Also,
take a look at this.
Yeah.
Also,
FYI,
forget
just like
everything because
one
this
last
is the
little
most
tidbit.
important.
One little tidbit.
really burying the lead.
I mean, he asked, so.
Yeah. Yeah. He says. So at this point, oh God, my DM brain has to catch up here. You guys know where the Skull Chalice is. Not specifically, but you know where it is, right?
That it's in Omu.
Yeah, okay. Just checking.
Told us
Did I tell you guys that? I wanted you to say it before I did. Yeah, you know specifically where it is. So he says that obviously that is more of a longer term goal, but it's good to see that she has able champions now, like on the job. So he would let you know that recently, you know, the Tepka has been as they always have. They've just been doing their best to maintain peace in the city. All the recent attacks and everything, and unrest. When you mentioned the Typhoon Palace and Donaquin, Zindar gets like this dark look on his face, and he's just like, I wasn't aware of your people's struggles with the Sekula followers. We may have to take a harder line on them in their city. They haven't been causing any outright problems. I mean, no more than usual, but
They did attack Father and Temple.
Trying to kill us as well. You know, fine.
I mean, he means like since you guys left,
I know.
not ever. He knows
Now you
obviously
wanna
the
kick him out?
bathhouse attack and obviously the yeah, but he would
I'd be
say
more
that
than happy to help with that if they take a harder line.
he's like, well, he'll keep that in mind. He does tell you that they haven't really, as far as the gates go, I mean, the yellow gate's new. They haven't. They've just been keeping an eye on it and make sure nothing comes and goes, for the most part. But he would tell you that, essentially, it hasn't been, as far as he's aware, it hasn't been activated, at all. So he's not aware of any red portal. That must be a new development as well. They haven't sent anybody through. They haven't really had the desire to at this point. Just sending people through random portals, not knowing what's on the other side. So they just kind of like locked it up. Although he is concerned that there wasn't anybody there.
Yeah, that was going to be
when you guys arrived.
My next question. Like, is anybody supposed to be actively watching it?
It was past curfew, which we learned was a thing after we arrived.
That's true.
Yeah. Normally, curfew or not, Ren was supposed to have a man watching it. It was all locked up from the outside, but there was supposed to be a person stationed at all times, not obviously out in the street. And maybe you just missed him, but he can't imagine that you would have arrived and left unless you were very... Did you guys like fog clouded or something your way out of there, didn't you?
No, we just left.
Yeah, I think we just left.
Yeah, no, yeah, Blackwind went out first and did like a survey, and then he didn't see anything, so we all were like, all right, well.
I think that was a different time you were at
On
the
the
warehouse.
when we attacked it, I think we did the cloud.
Yeah.
We did the cloud.
Casting
Yeah,
my
you're
mind
right.
back. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys didn't see anybody. He, like you said, he can't imagine that he wouldn't have heard unless Ren's already aware, and maybe he is and just hasn't reported back to Zindar yet. But usually word travels pretty fast. On especially something as like knowing that they were specifically watching. Then again, maybe whoever was on watch fell asleep. Anyways, he says to leave that with him. He'll look into that, why or how there wasn't somebody there. Just want to make sure I don't miss anything else before I move to the next bit. Yeah, the Mesro stuff. The Flaming Fist, he seems little nonchalant about. He says that he will let you know, just in that regard. Although he says Clevin could probably give you a much better rundown of any sort of recent politicking, but he does know that there was a vote probably 3 weeks ago on whether or not to allow the Flaming Fist further into the city, because the Flaming Fist have been putting out overtures to allow them to operate within the city, and given the troubles that they've been under recently, and as you may or may not be aware, there was supposed to be reinforcements, mercenaries hired that never made it. That was a while back, but they haven't been able to reinforce them in any real way, shape, or form. But last he heard, the vote was defeated, and they were not allowing the Flaming Fist into the city, regardless. But he doesn't really know like who voted for what or anything like that. He said, like I said, Clevin will be able to tell you more. But speaking of Clevin, yes, he's aware of his shop was burned down and everything. Clevin is still fine. He's got a secondary location, not too far from here. In fact, he would
put a pin on our map.
He would tell you where you can find Clevin.
Oh, I hope it's at the bathhouse.
How do I make a pin again? Oh, no, that's right.
A Pinnigan.
Pinnigan.
Like a Pinnigan.
We'll call it Clevin's Safe House. Got public. Put it on the map.
Oh, there it is.
Just to the north, just in the shadow of the bridge there, there is a safe house, secondary location that Clevin keeps. You can find him there. He trusts you guys. So if you want any further information on that, he'd be the one to talk to. Which brings the conversation around to what's happened since you guys have come back, basically. So, in that regard, is there anything you guys just say or don't say about anything that's happened since you've been back with the old city, the 12, and anything you found there? Anything at all that you would leave out, or just lay it all on the table?
No,
I don't see any reason to.
Lay it on the table.
Literally, ledger down on the table. Look what we found. Ignore the blood ritual, blood magic stuff. But this letter.
I'm keeping
This
those.
letter. I'm just like, we found this book. The letter is what's important.
Well, and the back half of the book that just has like records incriminating Mythal with his trade deals and moving funds around and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And ignore Jonah's buckets of blood. It's unrelated.
We need more arrows on the map, guys.
Yes, I was different though.
Just have to be special, don't you?
Zindar kind of like reads over the letter. Eyes kind of go wide, and he lets out like this like rumbling kind of like growl deep in his chest as he's reading this. Starts flipping through the book. Kind of like gets this like sneer on his face as he flips past like all the like arcane stuff at the front of the book. He's almost got that look like he's touching something really icky, like he's kind of like gingerly touching the pages. Not just because it's got blood splatters on it and shit, but because it's just the nature of it. You can sense that he's not comfortable handling this book. But when he starts looking into the numbers, it's silent for quite a while as he just kind of digs through it and mulls it over. And he's like, "Well, this is an unexpected development. The 12 have been, well, since your previous movements against them when you were last in port, they've been relatively quiet."
Or so we thought.
Yeah, or so we thought. To know that they were responsible for these murders and this, well, whatever this blood magic. It's like I can't say that I fully understand exactly what they were doing there in that pit, but either way, it seems that there's a schism in their ranks. Ifan, I always thought the man was more honorable than that. He's never been more, as far as I've been aware, he's always been a relatively upstanding citizen, ruthless in business, but this, surprised. Perhaps I shouldn't have been. Perhaps I've been naive. He kind of looks at you all and he's like,
We were surprised too, so, you know, maybe we're all naive.
I mean, I wasn't surprised, but I don't know shit about anything here, so.
And he kind of nods. He's like, "Now, I guess that brings us to what should we do about it?" Like,
I would say just watch him if you know who he is. Surveil.
I mean, wouldn't we just go get him? Right?
He's like, Ifan is a powerful man with many allies in the city. Chief among them, perhaps some of the other merchant princes. Moving against him directly may cause unnecessary chaos and violence in the city, particularly if you consider the fact that Ifan has probably at least a third, if not more, of the security forces in the city under his payroll. He did bankroll much of the mercenaries hired by the Zentarum in the city. To move against him directly without being fully ready for the ramifications of that, well, the city can't afford to implode in on itself.
That's why I say keep your cards close. Watch. Keep it, a close eye on him. Watch his movements, his connections. It might lead to more information, or at least the ability to maybe counter any of his moves that he.
We also know the Blood King is gunning for him now too, to an extent.
He kind of nods. He's like, "Frankly, from what you've told me, if the rank and file of his criminal enterprises here have been stunted through loss of his resources and operations, as you've done an admirable job of, this Blood King is a bit more
accident.
of a accident or no, results are results." But this Blood King, what's to stop him from sending another like this Naharali? We can't afford to watch everywhere at once, and we can't allow these kind of things to fester in the city. Who knows what might have happened if he had...
Whatever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so you said he controls like the town guard and like the mercenaries and stuff?
It's like, well, the town guard is under the direct command of Akane.
Oh, seems like we should get Akane on our side.
And he kind of nods. He's like, perhaps we definitely need her forces. Should the Ifan's mercenaries be more loyal to their coin than to the city itself? Their contract is with the merchant princes and the Golden Council as a whole, not to Ifan directly. The council was at least smart enough not to put all of the power in his hands, but that doesn't mean their loyalties don't lie directly with him. And then he kind of thinks for a bit. He's like, I think the best thing to do at this point, I'll obviously spread the word amongst the Yatepka. We'll watch as best we can. Ifan has his hands in a lot of mercantile activities. Who's to say what's part of his criminal organization, what's legitimate business? But this ledger will give us some good leads to run down that regard. So I'll focus my efforts on that. I would have you, if you would, and he kind of like points at the book. He's like, I don't think I should keep this. It's better off in your hands, especially given the foul nature of the beginning parts. If you would, however, allow me a brief moment to perhaps take some notes and copy down some of the ledgers in the back, so I can begin assigning agents to these operations. In the meantime, that should only take me a short time. In the meantime, if you would check with Clevin and let him know, he would be he'd be the best resource in how to handle this politically, and perhaps get the other merchant princes buy-in. If at least Akane for sure, if not the others. But to bring a charge against this without being fully prepared for retaliation, like I said, I don't want any bloodshed we can avoid in the streets would be ideal. He's like, and of course, once Clevin's aware, I'm sure that we should then involve, well, our leader herself. You guys know who the leader of the Atepka is in the city, right?
I
thought it was Zindar.
Yeah, Brad thought it was Zindar.
Oh, nope.
Oh.
Well,
I just want to double check. This is a revelation. It's a revelation, so I'll let you know, because Zindar's going to tell you right now if you didn't already know.
I'm trying to remember.
I couldn't remember if you guys actually knew or not.
The princess
One of the princes?
She had said some of the princes who were. I swear to God, she had mentioned.
Oh yeah, one of the.
She had mentioned one of the.
One of the merchant princes is the head, or a member at least.
A member at least.
I assumed the head.
Wasn't Zanthi one?
No,
wasn't it Wakanga?
Nope.
He did.
No.
Wakanga was one that they weren't sure if they should trust. Right.
Yeah, it's.
I got Merchant Prince Zanthi.
Yeah.
Zanthi is a Utepka member. Yep.
Yeah. Zanthi is indeed. She's the eldest on the council, and she is loyal to Princess Moxanare.
Wow. I mean, then, yeah, just get. I'd go talk to her and get her on her side for sure.
You know, it's just like. Indeed, having her backing would be, I'm sure, obviously, that she would, but it's a delicate situation. She may want to go through more. Well, I shouldn't speculate on how Zanthi would respond to this, but suffice it to say, if you have any of the other merchant princes that perhaps you've made any sort of impression on, it would, if we could get at least 3, 4 would be ideal, having a majority on the council. Perhaps we could just remove Ifan from power without any sort of, well, dangerous
punching a face
without having to. Yeah. So the ones we've had any contact with, we've had contact with Wakanga, but he didn't seem to like us very much. He was kind of neutral on us. Not, in favor. Who did we talk to when we won in the Coliseum? Was that Akane?
Akane and Jessamine.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't Jessamine, I don't think.
Coyote, yes.
Coyote?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whether they remember us, I don't know, but
yeah, we haven't met Joe Ball.
We hadn't met Joe Ball. I was planning on it.
Yeah, we haven't met Zanthi. I was also planning on meeting Zanthi.
Yeah, because of the gems.
Jessamine you haven't met, but you did meet her daughter.
We did meet her daughter, yeah. And we know she likes snake stuff.
Imezra is her daughter.
and we
Mhm.
accepted that artifact that was to be put together, and it seemed like it would control them. Or...
Yeah,
we still have
yeah,
that here,
we
Ben.
still
Yeah,
have that.
what
We
the
haven't
fuck
put it
ever happened
together.
with that?
No, we still have the
He's
pieces.
sitting
We
in
haven't put it
background.
together. We still have it. It's
in
in
the
my.
entire time we were out in the jungle, we never did anything
Nope.
with it. Wow.
Never did a single thing
All right.
Still uncertain of what it does
That's
100%
fun.
until we put it
I
together.
completely
until we
forgot
put it
about
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole key to everything.
What if
We're
it
just
is?
laughing his ass up.
So yeah, so if you guys want to, so Zindar would suggest, as he gets to work on sending these missives out and copying as best he can all this information, so he can target his agents correctly. He would suggest you guys, your next stop would, well, as far as this business is concerned, it would be to go to Clevin and see about getting this information into the hands of Zanthi herself.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is,
one
we were
question
heading
if
up that
you
way
have.
anyway.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's no.
What question do you have?
I was just curious if he knew why the Gilded Eyes expedition
Oh.
failed, or how, like,
He does. Well, he knows some. They're a bit tight-lipped of exactly what happened out in the jungle, but from what he's understood, the he wouldn't say the bulk of, but at least half of their reinforcement forces that went into the jungle to help reinforce Camp Vengeance. Thank you.
Revengeance?
Yeah, Revengeance returned for the past little while. Anyways, they've been relatively quiet. He has spoken with their commander, and he's aware that they are planning whatever reasons they had for being here in the first place. It seems that something bad went down. He gets the impression, although he's not 100% certain of this, that Camp Vengeance may no longer be there. He does know that. He gets the distinct impression from what he's heard from his agents and things, was that they were here. Well, the reinforcements were here. The initial force was here and just kind of like on a missionary mission, I guess. But they were looking to just kind of like figure out the source, if they could, of the undead menace and whether it had any connection to the death curse, etc. Failing that, their reinforcements, he gets the impression that they weren't here for the same reason. All these reinforcements that came in, they were relatively tight-lipped, but his understanding is there was some sort of conflict at Camp Vengeance, and Camp Vengeance is no longer there. Not all of them returned, and he thinks that they may still have some sort of presence along the south, along the River Ocean Star, perhaps in another location, but he's not sure exactly where. But the majority of them seem to have whatever they were looking for. They seem to have found it, and as far as he can tell, they're making preparations, or they have been making preparations to leave. Every few days to a week or so, some more of them seem to kind of like trickle in. He doesn't know if they're waiting for somebody specific or something specific to reach the city before they pull out. But from what he's seen with the amount of supplies on their ships and everything, they're getting ready to just pull out entirely, and head back to the mainland, back to the Sword Coast.
Does he know where they're staying? Where the majority of them are?
Their commander and all their upper officers are staying at Kyra's House of Repose. As far as he's aware, they've bought out the entire place.
What about lower ones?
However, whatever other flop houses and taverns throughout the city, he wouldn't know, scattered about. Quite a few of them are staying on the ship though, as well, just sleeping in quarters there. But he doesn't have more detail than that, unfortunately. He's frankly, he's just happy. Although they've been very useful, given their numbers in the city, that they've been very useful in adding their strength to repelling the undead attacks, especially lately. So they've been a boon to the city's defenses. So in some regards, he'll miss their presence, but they're not popular with the local populace by any means, and there's a lot of friction between them and the city guard, and well, their specific brand of religious zeal is not very much appreciated here in the city, so he can't say he'll be sad to see them go, but he will be sad to see their defenses weakened. But perhaps with this destruction of this cyst heart thing, perhaps that the undead attacks will cease, although he can't imagine they'll cease for long if this Blood King is still out there. Anyways, that's all he knows.
Cool.
All right.
Alright. So he wants to hang on to the book for like an hour just to copy that.
Okay.
Is that okay? Do you want to wait here while he does that? You're welcome to, or go do something else and come back for it. It's up to you guys.
Well, if you want to stay here with the book, we can go talk to this Clevin guy. Or we can all wait.
No, I mean, I think it's probably, if he's just copying it here, we could probably swing up to Clevin, over to Tuttletome, down to the temple, then back, do a circle.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, like Clevin's place would be like 5 minutes down the road, right?
Yeah.
Like 5.
All right.
Tuttletome's
fine.
is like probably 10 minutes up, another 10 minutes up to the temple, and then
Yeah.
maybe 15 minutes back. So like an hour of walking all told, plus the time you spend at any given location.
I think that's fine. We'll just do a circle,
All
swing
right.
back through.
Yeah. Zendara, is great meeting you. And happy to have more friends of the princess.
He nods and kind of gives you like a formal kind of like salute, and he's like, well, if everything goes as planned, well, I'm stand ready to serve at Her Majesty's needs. Kind of gives you a bow.
I kind of awkwardly sort of bow back. He's like, yeah. Same. Right. Yeah, peace out. He has no idea how formalities work.
One quick question. If we do end up going to see what's her fucking the leader, if we do put our name in for Zanthi, is there something we should mention in our reasoning to see her so she knows our actual purpose and it
Ooh,
doesn't
yeah.
take weeks to get in to see her? Like, is there something, or is that something that Clevin knows?
Yeah, Zindar would say that Clevin will be able to arrange everything in that regard.
Okay.
Normally, yes, you're right. You wouldn't be able to just get in there. It could take a long time, but Clevin can grease the wheels and ensure that you meet her as soon as possible.
Cool beans. Yeah, then that was it.
All right. Well, moments later, you find yourselves, sans Bloody Ledger for now, out in the streets.
You finally give me a spell book. Zindar's gonna get attacked. It's gonna be gone. Son of a...
Yeah, so it's probably like 3 now. Because you were probably talking to him for at least half an hour, if not longer.
If not more.
So I'd say it's about 3. We'll say it's about 3 o'clock or so, maybe like 10 after 3. Curfew is at 9, right?
We gotta get better at like summarizing our jungle, like just bullet points when we find Clevin. Just
well, we're gonna have another opportunity now with Clevin.
Yeah.
Bullet point. Same thing we did there.
Yeah, really, we should have like called a meeting.
Everybody that needs to know stuff. Can we all please just gather and we'll just say this once? Yeah, so there you are. Hundreds of seagulls and birds swirling overhead. The harbor in full swing, boats coming and going. What do you do?
Knock.
Knock?
I think
What?
we're heading to
The
Cleveland.
harbor master opens the door again? No.
Oh, sorry. I thought we're heading up to Cleveland's.
Oh, okay.
Heading north.
Solly Forth.
Y'all.
You head northwards along the seawall, and you find yourselves at about 3:15, arriving at a cluster of residential buildings, one of which you see is the address that Zindar gave you. Quillen, you are just in awe of the city and the birds, completely oblivious to everything else. As you're trying to keep an eye out. And you find yourself, just standing in the street. You notice that directly across from this, there's a small pastry stand hawking meat pies. And there is, there's a wooden kind of like knocker on the door. It's not a busy street, this area, kind of just in the shadow of the bridge, so the air is filled with the sounds of wind chimes tinkling in the ocean breeze because there's like thousands of them hanging from that bridge that arcs overhead.
Pretty.
You can knock now.
Perfect.
Knock spell, kaboom! No,
I do have it.
Door
prepared.
flies open. You hear the sound of slides and latches and clicks and turns, and then the door creaks open. You see 3 sets of chains, kind of like in 3 spots as the door opens. An eye glances up and down at you, and then it closes again. You hear more clicks and the door swings open. There you see Clevin. He is in his normal kind of like similar attire. You've seen him before, kind of like bright colored Chelton kind of light fabrics, and he looks at you all in astonishment and says, "Ah, so you've been to see Zindar then? Come, we have much to discuss." And he kind of like
Sure do.
waves you in. So, tell me all about your adventures. No.
Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, jeez.
Exposition dump.
Fade to black.
Fade to
Only
black
him.
as you guys, just pipe up if there's something that he says. Actually, we wouldn't have told him that. Just pipe up. Moments later, we'll say you guys are, for the sake of brevity, your characters are getting tired of telling the story now. You do bullet point it a bit more and summarize a bit faster. Just the salient points that are important to Clevin. Clevin kind of like shakes his head up upon hearing all of your sordid tale, and he says, "Wow, and I thought I had trouble. The loss of my shop is nothing compared to what you've been through. Poor Baz. Such a nice man."
Baz loves your clothes.
He likes
We will
men.
We will find a way to bring him back. We will
Guys
find a
love
way.
your shop.
He nods and he's like, "Wow, pleased am I to meet you, Mr. Donaquin. It's been ages since a turtle has darkened my doorstep." Well, it sounds a little ominous, but
They don't leave there. No,
Past my doorstep, Clement.
lucky I can fit through the doorstep.
it's true. I imagine Donaquin like sitting on like this chair, it's creaking ominously.
He probably wouldn't sit on most things like on the couch before. He wouldn't sit on like chairs. He probably wouldn't sit on. He would rather just either stand or sit on the floor. Then
I just imagine him like with his shell laying down with this like shell just like rocking.
spinning, just slowly spinning.
And he turns and he's
a
like,
great table.
and a monk of Kirsabal. Well, not a monk, I suppose. You don't look like a monk. Not like him. Points at Aelin. He's like, anyways, getting off track here.
That's racist.
Is it? I'm sorry.
That's classist. Oh wait, that's classist.
Yeah, he seems after he gets over his initial kind of awe and shock, upon informing him of the situation with Ifan, Clevin kind of sits, and you can just like see the gears turning in his head as he's like kind of deep in thought, and he's like, yes, this is a bit of a pickle, isn't it? He's like, well, Zindar is right about one thing. Moving directly against Ifan would cause a lot of problems. I would say the key would obviously Zanthi will back you without a problem. I think the real key is to get Akane on board so that she can
He's got the muscle.
she can move quickly to, because according to what you've told me, that it seems they've been the forces of the 12 have been infiltrating the mercenary companies that have been augmenting the city guard. Mm-hmm. So, not all of them, but hopefully enough in that ledger we can pinpoint exactly who they may have corrupted. If we have a concerted effort between the Utepka and the city guard, we can hopefully round them all up in a single decisive strike before they can organize and know it's coming. So we'll need Akane for that. He's like, and then he thinks, he's like, but to move against Ifan directly, well, we'd probably need Jessamine on board too. Get an official sanction against him. If the ledgers you found are as damning as you say they are, I can't imagine that she would deny this, although it would make enemies. And he kind of thinks, he's like, I don't imagine, and he kind of sits and thinks, he's like, I don't think Coyote and Jobal will be a problem. They've been at odds with Ifan recently. Wakonga's a bit of a wild card, though. Not sure which way he would sway on the issue, but he seems like a reasonable man, at least from what I've heard. Be nice to have his support as well. If we could get those 4 anyways, Ifan would be left with no allies, I think, on the council. Wakonga's the only one that may back him. My understanding is that they have, in the past, voted together on several issues concerning civic matters in the city.
Where did they land on the Flaming Fist vote?
He's like, you heard about that? Yes, well, the last vote, it came down to Jessamine's swing vote to strike down the proposition. So those who supported the Flaming Fist in the city, Coyote and Jobal both voted for it, as well as Akane, primarily because she believes that our forces are not nearly strong enough to repel we've been weakened substantially in recent months. Zanthi and Wakonga voted against it. Zanthi being a more traditionalist, she doesn't want the Flaming Fist in the city at all. Being a monarchist, she doesn't want any imperial power in the city. She remembers, I think, better than most the Amnian occupation, so she doesn't want to see a return to that. Wakonga just has no love for the Flaming Fist and what they stand for, so he voted against it as well. The problem is that Ifan also voted against it.
I would imagine because he wants his
Zentarum.
the Zentarum and his people to be,
He nods.
you know,
He's like,
Flaming Fist would wash out their power. So that
exactly.
makes sense.
It would be more difficult for him to follow through on his plan that we now know of, I suppose, with another power in the city. And Jessamine stepped in as a tiebreaker last time and voted against it. However, Jessamine has been absent from the last 2 council meetings. She hasn't been seen in quite a while. Luckily, there hasn't been any major votes, but if Ifan was removed and Jessamine abstained, well, vote could swing in favor of those who want them in the city.
Does anyone know where Jessamine is?
And he's like, well, I imagine her daughter must. Maybe one of the other merchant princes does. We're not 100% sure. The only thing that we can say for sure is that we don't believe she's left the city, so perhaps she's just been in her villa. All we really know is that she hasn't been seen out in the city, and she hasn't been seen at Golden Throne the last 2 council meetings.
Yeah. It's interesting that Zanthi is against the Flaming Fist, but her son was apparently working with them to try and get them in.
He nods. He's like, "It's always been a bit of thorn and a bit contrarian, Shago. I think I don't know.
It's just interesting that he would want to lessen his mother's power in that, in that way. It seems odd. Because I don't know, maybe it's an assumption that the children usually take over would normally take over the seat of the prince.
Clevin shakes his head. He's like, oh, no. It's not a hereditary position. Not at all.
Oh, because we had heard rumored that Jessamine's daughter was in line for her seat.
Well,
so I guess that
it's fairly well known, and she's been vocal enough about wanting it. Doesn't necessarily mean she'll get it. Now, granted, like any other rich mercantile family, unless there's been some significant strife, they would be, of course, in line to inherit their estates, and usually the seats go to the wealthiest that have the most influence in the city. So, while it's not a rule that they take over the seats, if you take over their empire, it stands to reason that you have a very strong claim to be on the council.
When the council was made, what was there something put into place for how one is replaced? If, say, if Ifan is removed, what happens to their seat?
It's like, well,
has it ever happened?
It has in the past. Merchant princes, well, the council that sits currently is the same council that overthrew the Amnians. Remember, they've only had their independence for just over a decade now.
Right, which is why I asked if it had ever happened. I didn't know if when they took over, if they put something in place, or if this is an unprecedented.
Well, initially, the first council was 6, after the initial overthrow of the Amnians. The 7th was added by unanimous vote of the other 6, in order to not have, stalemates in the council. There's always an odd number. So, if Ifan was removed, and it was down to 6 again, what happens to his estates and businesses? That's all sorts of legal matters that we don't need to get into, but
sure.
Essentially, assuming that his enterprises aren't just eaten up by and split up amongst a bunch of other business partners and such, he, as far as I'm aware, has no children, so it wouldn't just be one person just stepping in his entire operation. So I would imagine the other 6 would have to come to an agreement on and I don't know, they open up the seat up for petitioners. They would choose from amongst all those who would be the most well qualified to. And
So it would be the other 6 that would choose.
He nods.
the
He's
new
like,
one.
he kind of shrugs, and he's like, frankly, obviously, if it's up to us, I would say if we have to continue with this merchant council, ideally before this comes into place, I would push for Zindar. He has significant influence in the city, but then that would
Controls the whole harbor. I mean, that's pretty.
well, not only that, but obviously it puts us in a very strong position to pave the way for the proper ruler's return.
Okay.
And
Of course, that could take months, though, so that's all well down the road.
And he's so tall.
And he nods. He's like,
Sure.
He does strike quite an intimidating figure.
Yeah.
I'm not great with the political intrigue, so I just was curious on how the system here works.
He nods. He's like, well, obviously we should move on this. I will get the wheels rolling to meet with Zanthi. From there, she can make overtures to the other merchant princes. Ideally, we can get a sanction and we can take Ifan down. But for now, just keep everything obviously close to your chest. Between Zindar and myself, we'll get all of our agents as close as we can with eyes on whoever we can. And yes, just, I guess, watch yourself.
You too. I'm sorry about your shop.
He shrugs. He's like, well, it is what it is. It was a worthwhile enterprise and all, but frankly, I was losing money hand over fist.
But your dwarf-sized clothes were so excellent.
He nods. He's like, it did allow me to mingle with a lot of the wealthy clientele of the city, that's for sure. I'll get something back up and running.
Oh, dang. Yeah. If we're gonna go, meet with another merchant prince, Archie would just ask him where to buy some better looking clothes. Like, where he would recommend buying something from.
Just gotta rub
So we could
salt in
swing
the
by.
wounds. Gotta rub salt in the wounds, don't you, Archie?
I'll commission him.
Sure, let me
He's
give you the name of my biggest competitor. Here you go.
If he can still work, I'll commission him for it, but he's hiding out. I'm assuming he doesn't have access to much of his stuff, but if he does, sure.
He's like, well, if you've taken down Fabian and until Ifan's removed and this Blood King is taken care of, yeah, they seem to have they seem to have targeted me. You're right. Fine. And he kind of gives you the name of somebody else.
It felt embarrassing.
I'll be a bit busy in the coming days. I won't have any time to be working on any garments for you.
We show up at that place and it's just Clevin with a mustache.
Clevin.
Glasses. Yeah.
Italian accent.
Oh, you want the new outfit? Okay. Come on.
My brother Clevin was excellent, but I am better. Cool. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I mean, this place is it's big and complicated, and I mean, if you all think that we're gonna not immediately go after this guy and just take him out, I've got to trust you. But yeah, I'm in your camp either way.
It would be better to do it politically and dismantle the whole operation than it would be to just kill him and to give that would just give potentially the Blood King power over whatever he had, right? And then it's all still in the shadows. If we can do it this way, open it up and have it be public, then you have everybody's eyes looking for the bad instead of nobody.
How are we keeping the Flaming Fist out of the city?
Well,
Clevin kind of sighs and looks at you, Johnny. He's like, well, that's the rub, isn't it? Ideally, we have to convince either Coyote and Joe Ball that it's against their interests.
you know, like, we may be able to put it to Zanthi might be able to convince them with, like, you know, saying that if she can get them to believe that Ethan is corrupted, then bringing in another one before you root out the current corruption would just be a bad idea. Maybe, you know, like, you don't know what you're opening the door to before they clean house, you know, maybe.
Who are we getting to replace the current once we remove him? Could we just speed that timeline up, or find somebody who doesn't want the Flaming Fist in? Make sure they get the
like
seat?
if Zindar or something could get the seat, that would be great. But we don't have a lot of control. We have much control over that unless we start like a whisper campaign.
Yeah. Clevin nods. He's like, and all that being said, we'd still ultimately it's up to the remaining council members to replace Ifan. Zanthi obviously will go towards Zindar, I'm sure of it, but the others, it'll take some work to bring them around. Akine, I think, would be our strongest. Well, it's hard to say. Akine's concern, especially if this whole operation to take Ifan down, if it's a significant amount of the mercenaries in the city, it just strengthens her position that we need outside help to support the city. So I can't see her unless we have an army somewhere willing to step up that's not as bad as the Flaming Fist.
Yeah, I just don't see how it's avoidable.
And it's like
honestly.
it's well known that Joe Ball's raking money in hand and fist over the over the Fist's operations. I mean, his guides are, I mean, probably 70% of his business is hired out to the Flaming Fist at any given time with their patrols and operations across the peninsula. So he's not going to move against them anytime soon, not without substantial financial incentive. Coyote.
What about this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And Coyote as well. She has a very substantive investment in foreign trade, and the Flaming Fist keeping greasing the wheels in that regard, and ensuring that goods can move in and out of the city easily without interference from the Fist. I mean, if I don't know. It may be difficult there as well. Anyways.
What about the these what were they? The Gilded Eyes?
Gilded Eye.
Gilded Eye. What about them?
They're not really up for hire.
No?
Not usually. They're a religious organization for the most part.
Yeah, but wouldn't they want to be like fighting against the undead and stuff?
Well, that's not what they would be doing in the city.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's what they'd be protecting the city from, isn't it? I'm confused about like why, like, you know, what's the major threat that Akane is concerned about?
I mean, the undead.
The undead are a major external threat, but there is just the matter of police and keeping the civic peace in the city itself. There is a significant amount of pirate activity. There is a lot of foreign people coming in and out, no offense. Just keeping an eye on all of that, all the operations there. And there's more than just undead in the jungle. There's criminal enterprises, the 12, sure, they're the major one, but that doesn't mean there's not probably dozens of other problems in the city. And well, we have a peninsula here, and we're the only power. I mean, there's orc tribes, there's grung tribes, there's all sorts of things that could go wrong for this city. It's a very tenuous position we're in here.
Sokola, Baxi tribes.
This Blood King. Granted, that might be
Terra
related
folk.
to the undead, the Terra folk. There's no end to the dangers of the jungle, and we're but a fledgling power here. As complicated and large as this city seems, frankly, the city's things could go badly very quickly for this city. More powerful empires than this have crumbled over the centuries here in Chult, as you've seen yourself to some of the ruins.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so.
What's our next step?
Glad I'm not in charge.
Yeah, so Clevin will put in a good word. We'll continue on with just our regular business and wait to hear, basically, about a meeting with Zanthi.
Did we check on Jessamine?
I'm not sure how we go
Do we
about
need
that.
to? Would that help us in any way?
I don't know. Only if there's some sort of trouble there. Why don't we talk to Zanthi first, and then if we want to actually talk to any of the other of the council, it may be better to have her backing to get through that quickly. Otherwise, it could take a while.
Clevin agrees with that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. So, Temple Severus.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, we should also check to see if Undrill's back in the city.
That's what
boat.
I would ask if they knew where the I guess we could check at the Kyra's, since that's where she was initially, and if she's not there, maybe somebody
maybe
there.
on the way to the bath.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I like it.
Clevin kind of stands up and says, well, I'm glad that you're back in the city. It sounds like you have a lot to do. I'll leave you to it. Remember, the curfew is in place after dark, although we will, as soon as word can get out that the killers have been found. It may still be a while before that's common knowledge. We don't want to move on that until we have our plans in place. We don't want you to rabbit.
If we're like out after dark, is there anything we can do to absolve ourselves of questioning?
He kind of thinks for a moment. He's like, well, I guess it all depends on who you encounter. The guards have been pretty strict about this kind of thing. You could always try bribing or talking your way out of it.
There's not like we can't. There's no like official business we can.
And he's like, Now that you mention it, he kind of. He's like, well, let me see if I can track down Soggy. Maybe we can get some sort of paperwork going. We'll say that you're part of his investigation team into the murders. He can get some sort of official channel. He has been put in charge of that, so it should be relatively simple for us to work something up.
I was just gonna ask if you had any contact with Soggy lately.
He nods because he just kind of like gestures to like the roof. He's like, well, yeah, he lives upstairs.
Oh, okay.
He's like, he's been staying at his place.
Okay. Good. He's the only one our only contact we haven't talked to yet since we've been back. So I just wanted to make sure he wasn't.
If you see him, can you do us a favor and just tell him everything that happened to us so we don't have to?
Clevin nods. He's like, yes, I will give him the
great
the brief rundown.
Cool.
Need one of those recording stones to record longer things. Jonah.
I guess I could do that.
I've prepared this informational pamphlet for you. Please look over this, and then we can talk.
This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
I was gonna say, because otherwise, if that gets into the wrong hands, that could be bad.
That's why it self-destructs in 5 seconds after you. Totally mission impossible.
So I would say probably about like maybe it's probably like 3:45 is when you be leaving Cleven's place. Unless there's anything else you want to do here.
I don't think so. Yeah, we'll just wait to hear from him.
Okay. So you're gonna head up to Tuttletomes next?
Tuttletomes! Woo!
Well, you
The
walk.
tombs are tunnels.
It's only a short jaunt over to Tuttletomes. Nothing much going on here. Just people enjoying the nice weather, looking out over the water. Some people fishing off the bluffs and stuff. You find yourself in the little square tucked away in the northern part of the Merchant Ward. Tuttletomes, burn to the ground. No, Tuttletomes is sitting there.
Grungs with spears cheering.
Baz loved grung toes.
There is, it doesn't seem to be changed much. This crammed shop full of knickknacks and scrolls and tons of things like hanging all over the walls. Narrow aisles for the most part, just crammed with shit everywhere. Big counter at the back with a bunch of like scroll tubes in little slots all along the one wall. Papers everywhere. Tuttletome is with ink smudges all over his hands and face, is scribbling something onto a big piece of parchment. He's got like one of those little, probably like looking like magnification little things. Kind of looks up, one big eye as you enter.
Hello, Sir Tuttletomes.
Cyclops.
And he's
Probably,
like,
I've been waiting outside. I know how cramped it is in there, and I've been inside already.
You got a little something on your. You got it.
Yeah. He just like rubs his hand with all the ink on it like across his cheek. It's like, did I get it? Did I get it?
I give him a thumbs up.
And he's like,
How is business?
He's like, business is booming. It's always booming. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. We've had quite the adventure.
It's like, oh, well, tell me about it some other time. I'm quite busy. What can I do for you?
Fair enough. I was just wondering if you had, if anybody had fulfilled your request for a proper map of Mesro yet. If anybody beat you to it.
And he kind of looks at you and cocks his head. He's like, huh, coincidence. As a matter of fact, yes.
Can't wait to see this one.
It's like, yes, that lovely young woman. Oh, what was her name? Elf girl.
Oh no.
Oh, she's got a real good one, I bet.
Oh, that was only about 2 weeks past. Sorry, you just missed it, my dear. Just missed it. Yeah, she was in here 2 weeks past with a beautiful map.
Would you mind if I take a look at it? She wasn't exactly much for map making, and I just want to make sure that she didn't swindle you out of anything.
It's like, swindle me? Swindle me? Well, I can't imagine. It's around here somewhere.
Zendala.
Yeah.
And he kind of turns and he's like, yes, around here somewhere. And he starts pulling scrolls, tubes, and like tossing them over his shoulder. A couple moments later, he pulls out this large rolled up map. He's like, yes, and comes over and just kind of like sweeps what he was doing just off the desk. Rolls it out and like kind of like tacks it down. There is Archie, actually anybody who's could give me an Arcana check when he unveils it. And if you can also give me, the whole party, you can give me an intelligence saving throw, please.
I'm outside.
Just people who are in there
Okay.
looking at it.
+2.
I'd be outside too, also, if there's not much room in there, because I'm kind of big.
Big shelf.
Yeah, everyone had +2 to that.
Oh. Then I
Jonah,
got a
you
25 and a 28.
Jonah, don't you have gnome cunning? Shouldn't that work?
Ah,
Yeah, you get advantage on that, Jonah, because you're
I
gnome cunning
definitely did.
on the save.
Damn.
All right, Jonah, good thing you had advantage. Blackwin, you fail. Quillen, you fail. You guys all had +2. Did you add that? Yeah, you did.
I did not.
Jonah had 23 then. Looks like, or I'm not sure if there's the +7 with the +2, Jonah.
You're muted.
No, that's not with the +2.
Okay, so 23. I mean, you beat it anyways. Blackwin, you failed. Quillen, you failed. Archie,
What do you mean I failed?
you're fine. And the other two are outside. So, Jonah and Archie, you see through this immediately. But Blackwin and Quillen, Quillen, you've never seen the place, so you couldn't probably tell one way or the other. You've never been there. But it looks like this beautiful, like extremely detailed, very well done map of like this temple with different rooms and things in it. Blackwind, it looks, as best as you can recall, it looks exactly how you remember it. It looks a little complicated with all sorts of like it's almost got like little areas that are like, you know, on a map when you want to like zoom in on a place. So it's got like a map, this big drawing of this temple, and then it's got like these little like squares that are like zoomed out, and like these other little circles that have like more detailed descriptions of rooms and things with like numbers and portals drawn in and everything, and it looks beautiful. Black, when you're like, wow, that's exactly, I remember seeing that and that and that. Archie and Jonah, you see this initially. Both of you rolled really well on your Arcana, didn't you, as well? Well, Jonah not so much, but Archie really well. Archie, you immediately see that this is like garbage. Like, it's terrible. It's not well drawn at all. It's got some of the details right, but it's not quality work at all. But some of the details are correct. Jonah, you see through as well. It doesn't look good to you at all either, but you're not as well versed in maps as Archie. But Archie, you recognize immediately that this map has some sort of like illusion on it. Which you and Jonah both just immediately disbelieve. But the other two are like, wow, that's really nice. Yeah, and Tuttleton's is like,
you do that with your maps.
Oh, Jesus. Archie's just be like, what a bitch. And I would like to cast Dispel Magic.
Sure. Yeah, if you could. What level? I guess it's top
Level 3 is all I have.
If you can you gotta make a check then.
Okay.
Because it doesn't immediately work without succeeding. Without check.
If I notice her start to do that, I want to like immediately like go behind her and like sort of like stand like this, just so that there any onlookers from outside. Maybe, I don't know if the door's open or not, but I'm just, you know.
Oh, the magic
reaction from
yeah. Nobody else is in there. Also, by the way,
day. Yeah.
Just so you know, Jonah, you can guide her on this check if she lets you know what she's doing. It's an ability check.
Actually,
I'll be like, dispel that.
Yeah, I would have told Tuttletome. I get his permission. This is technically his property. Yeah. I don't want to just do that. Archie's smart enough not to do that. She'd say, "What a bitch! This has illusion magic on it," and ask if she can try and dispel it.
Tuttletome's face just kind of like,
the what?
The
what?
Okay, so
yeah, he's like, yes, kind of like trepidation in his voice.
So it's an intellect ability check, is that correct? That's my spellcasting ability.
Yeah, intellect ability check is 10 plus the spell's level to succeed, and Jonah can guide you for a d4 on it.
Okay, I'm gonna use my inspiration on this.
Okay, advantage then?
Yeah. Archie's mad. She really wants to clear this up. Boy, that guidance, please.
Yeah.
19.
Nice. Yeah,
Thank you, John.
you blast it pretty easily. The magic just unravels as you target it specifically. And yeah, to those of you who failed to save earlier, suddenly the map just reverts to it's pretty terrible even by non-map maker standards. Like, you can understand that it's the temple and get the gist of what she's trying to do, but it's inaccurate. The scales are all wrong. It's missing a bunch of information. Obviously, Zendala did not go into the rooms to the extent that Archie did, but it is a pretty decent. I mean, decent is a bad word, but it is recognizable as the temple you were in and she was in, but it's not good.
But it's not the map that you made for the Flaming Fist that was intentionally bad.
No,
that
it
was
is not.
That was still okay.
That was way better than that.
That just didn't have the
Yeah.
deep, like the proper everything.
That's what I was expecting Corey to say.
It to
that
be.
She got it from them somehow and sold it. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been surprised. And then so I will take out the actual map that I made, which I rolled.
And Tuttletongue's just like holding his forehead, looking at it. He's just like, "Oh, so I can't. Oh no."
Just so he can see how
how
terrible it actually is.
She was so nice.
No, she is very. I will try and make him feel better by saying she is very good at deception. She is a horrible person who lies.
Did she mention where she was going or what she was going to do next 2 weeks ago?
He's like, yeah, she was looking into, well, she wanted some, whatever maps I could provide her of the Mistcliff Mountains. That's all I really know. I just gave her some basic topographical maps. I didn't have a lot, just from some of the scouts and things. Yeah. That's what she was interested in.
Have anybody with her?
He shakes his head. He's like, no, it was just her.
Do you have a little pet on her shoulder?
I didn't see one, no.
I think that's usually invisible.
Yeah.
That's what I was just checking.
Anyways, so you hand him the map that you made?
I mean, I would have showed it to him just to show him how wrong hers was.
And he kind of like looks at you and he's like, "This one's not fake, is it?" He's like, no, I trust you. Like, maybe I shouldn't. You seem so nice too.
I can dispel fakes. I cannot create them.
Detect magic, or of some sort.
Isn't it magic?
Yeah.
It has an optical illusion on it to show
it.
what.
Oh, really?
But it says optical. It has a little thing that shows what the tower looks like, but the map itself is not magical. So like the actual map is just very detailed and very good. And then it has on the corner, it's got a small magical that shows what the tower looks like when you look at it. So maybe he won't believe me. That's fine. I'm assuming he doesn't have another 1,000 gold to give out anyway.
He inspects it with his little glass, and he's like, of course. How could I have been so blind? Of course, this is very good work. Very good work. And he looks up at you. He's like, well, a deal's a deal. Yes, I will.
Oh, really?
I will take this off your hands for sure.
Oh.
And then he turns and he's like, yeah. He kind of like walks over to the back and opens up a drawer and starts digging through. And then he comes back and he's like, and kind of like plumps down a bag o' gold, well, actually, he plops down a bag of platinum.
Ooh, that's smart.
100
1,000 platinum?
100 platinum pieces.
100 plats.
1,000 platinum?
And then he
Shit.
he gives it to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, that's
Who's
split.
throwing money
That's
at me?
fine.
I would also.
And he just kind of says, he's like, well, I'm gonna have to put out a second mortgage on this place.
Jeez.
He's like, but with this,
Well, the fancy thing about this map, and I'll explain to him how the temple actually works, and how you properly navigate it specifically, and let him know that he can potentially charge more for that information on top of just the map. That unless they've figured it out, that could be. I'll explain, how that works and why having that information is worth much more than just the map.
It's a map and an instruction booklet.
he's like, kind of looks at you, Archie, and he's like, you've come a long way since the previous maps I've seen you draw.
Thank you. That
Those
means
ones
a
were
lot.
shit.
Those ones were garbage. No, but this is a piece of art. And he
Drawn with crayons.
he will pull out another 10 coins and hand it to you as well.
Thanks, Tuttletome.
He said, now that's okay. I've got a large stock of grung toes. I can eat those for the next month or so.
I'll also let him know the other maps I've made in case he has anybody with interest in them. Like the way to Mesro and from those ones.
Did you make a map of Nangalore?
I did. But I potentially have somebody
That's for someone
that's
else.
for someone else. So that would be
Gotcha.
the one I would mention that somebody was looking for this map, so I'm gonna hold on to that one, but just to sort of get his general opinion on the other maps. See.
Yeah, he'll look them over and he's like,
Just have a map conversation.
yeah, he looks them over and everything. Just impressed. He's like, well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people looking for this kind of thing. Myself, I'm a little tapped right now.
Sure.
It's like, but yeah, you've come a long way. I'm sure that given enough time, I'm sure that I can make very good use of this map you've given me.
I hope
Very
so.
good use indeed.
How many gruntos?
Yay!
Plaid is coming together.
While they're inside, I think I would have just taken a moment with Donnaquin outside, and just been like, "Well, Donnaquin, you mentioned to Zindar that you felt like you owe us a life debt. I want you to know that I really don't think that you do. I feel like you've repaid us a dozen times over in the short time that we've been with you, and I don't want you to feel like you owe us anything. I think you've been an incredible help to all of us."
Oh, I believe that too. So I just want to help out as much as I possibly can. Because my life was saved, and that. So I don't really consider it like a debt and stuff like that. Stuff, but I want to travel as long as I can with you. Stuff to help you all as much as possible.
All right, that's. I mean, everyone's happy to have you. I'm sure. I just want to make sure that you're not, you don't feel tied to us for any reason other than your own.
No, I believe stuff that your questions like that align stuff with things that I want to do stuff as well. So, like I was saying, it helps both ways. But I appreciate
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, this guy sells grung toes, and it's weird.
So what?
Well, it's on the sign.
Curios and grung toes.
Toes?
Yeah, I guess some people like eating them.
They're pickled.
Oh, pickled toes.
That makes it
Let's
so.
go.
That's fine.
Since they're pickled, I'll try anything
One
pickled.
thing Baz didn't love was grung toes.
Baz hated grung
Yeah,
toes. Oh man.
oh
He
man.
actually almost threw up once he found out what they were.
He was
And
more.
I don't think he liked the flavor.
He was more upset at it. He's like, I don't get it. Why? Why? Who is this for?
What's a grung?
What is a grung?
Now we met a grung.
Oh,
That was
Donquin,
pretty
you would know what a grung is for sure. They are frog people of Chult. Like, they're a sentient race of
Intelligent.
humanoid frogs.
Oh, those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've worked with some since, and it's been kind of awkward.
Then we partied up with one for a little bit.
I mean, they're generally not welcome in Port Nyanzaru at all. They're not really welcome anywhere, really, outside of
We met a
outside
nice
of their own villages. There's very limited trade. They're generally considered. They're kind of like,
pests.
yeah, they're kind of like kobolds or like goblins or something. Like they're kind of just
Simple.
assholes that don't get along with anybody really. But even the turtles probably, there's no grungs probably on your homeland of Vomgar, but yeah, I don't think your people would be terribly upset, other than the fact they are living creatures. But
But maybe Donaquin is like, no, fuck grungs.
I don't know.
That's your one character quirk. Wow.
Hey,
He loves grung toes.
No, I don't believe us of our race like hates them off the back on our homeland. I think they're fine. I don't think I would eat their toes though.
Pickled.
No,
Have you seen
same.
where their toes went?
Yeah.
Even if they're pickled.
Maybe they're thumbs, but not their toes.
No, like come on.
grung thumbs is too hard to say.
Grunt thumbs and stuff like that. That's a delicacy. That's about toes. No.
Before I head out, I'd ask if I could just take a look quickly at the topographical maps that he showed Zendala.
He's like, yeah, I would if I could, but she bought all of them.
Oh, she's bought the originals.
She did. Hence why I
Oh.
still had money to pay you. She bought all of them. She probably spent 500-600 gold in worth of trade after I paid her. So really, she stole them. He kind of like gets his
Yeah.
kind of glower on his face.
Well, if we come across her, I'll try and get your money back.
He's like,
It's insulting that she would put this out into the world. As I point to the shitty piece of crap. Try and pass it off.
Like I already didn't like her.
I already
Now.
didn't like her, but yeah, now
She's going for a longer.
um
That's what she's doing.
would
Yep.
yeah, would Archie would probably bring up saying, like she stole from you. That's illegal, right?
it's like,
Like-
well,
Well,
yes,
that was more fraud.
Fraud is still
he kind of
illegal.
nods like, either way, she walked out with 400 gold worth of merchandise that she
Yeah.
gave me nothing of value in return for. Yeah, I would consider that a swindle, a fraud. It's unacceptable. I will bring this. I will petition Joe Ball to sanction her.
Hell yeah. Joe Ball? Jessamine?
Joe Ball. Well,
Oh, well, Joe Ball does the map stuff. Jessamine does. Oh, wait, so Joe Ball will have Jessamine sanction. Okay, I get it. Archie's like, I'm catching on.
it's like,
Well, I obviously will back you up as to the claims if they need it in any way. Shame on her.
shame.
Under her breath, Archie's just like, I'll kill her. I'll
But
kill her.
now, if we kill her, we can get paid for it.
If they're yeah.
Yeah, but you get points if you do it
Aelin, you're
not
outside.
legally.
I would say that
I'm
if
thinking
if
to
there
myself.
is if a san- if they
You're
if
not
he
here.
does get a sanction put on her, to let me know if he could. If that happens soonish.
He nods. He's like, "Well, I know one thing. She's not welcome in this shop anymore."
Damn straight. Okay, yeah. So that would be it. That would what? Oh, I hate her. I hate her. I
He
hope
has
there's
no
a
honor.
sanction on her.
Nothing but lies from her teeth. I just want to punch her in her face.
The topographical maps for the Mistcliff that she got, was that like, is that the northern? That's the northern part of the mountain range, right?
Well,
Or is it the whole mountain range?
Well, the Mistcliff Mountains, they are. Well, I mean, you can see them on the.
Okay, so not the storm rack. The Mistcliffs are the like start. Do they start at that gap?
Yeah,
Is that
there's a
okay?
gap. So everything north of that gap is the Stormrack Mountains. The Mistcliffs are all and there's another gap where the River Tath is, and then it's the Kobold Mountains south of that.
Okay.
Yeah, which would be right near Oralunga.
Yeah, Tomoe-chan. That's also where I saw the mountain move. That was the Mistcliffs, where I saw the mountain. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I think we'd probably head out after Odette.
Okay.
Oh,
Huddletome bids you good day.
Where's
If
the
he needs
rooster?
If he needs anything, he knows where to find me.
all good
The
in there.
rooster's gone.
Sandala is the worst. I hate her, and I'll just fill them in on.
That bitch.
That's pretty fast. I'm surprised. She must have either spelled it back or found it.
Well, she also didn't spend a month in Kirsabal.
Yeah,
but
actually,
she's not an outdoors.
only getting back 2 weeks ago, so that took her 3 weeks, roughly, if not a little bit. 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, 3 to 4, almost up to get back here.
Because we also went away from Mesro to Kirsabal. Like,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
We had travel
I'm just
time to
surprised
Kirsabal. We did
she was able-
Nangalore. We
Yeah.
spent the month, and then we also traveled up to Firefinger. So
yeah, that's like 6 weeks.
it's like 6 weeks. So
But
yeah, it
to-
took her.
To Ryan's point, she was by herself.
She was with the Flaming Fist. She
sort of.
probably just came back
no,
with
no,
them.
No, wasn't she with the other group?
She was with House Karanok.
Oh, she was with Karanok, not the Flaming
Yeah.
Fist. Okay.
But she also came back to the city on her own before
Or with the other
Yeah.
guys.
No,
with one
With
guy.
the one guy.
Barely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
but
guy
she-
said that she saved them.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
didn't sound like it was,
Well,
a great expedition. So I think they were back.
Right,
on
that's
fair.
But the fact
But-
that she did it once and
Yeah.
could have easily done it again with even more assistance.
Yeah, I mean, we know she's a higher spellcaster than me. We don't know how high of a spellcaster she is. When
I'm more concerned about
dispelled,
who she came back with.
do I have any idea of what level it would have been? That's not something I get to know.
No, I don't think so. The dispel,
doesn't-
you
I think
just
if you
know
cast-
if you fail, you know that it's higher level than what you rolled.
If you'd
Sure.
identified the map, you probably would have
Yes,
known.
yeah. If you had cast Identify, you would know.
Gross.
That's
Okay.
a good point, Andre. Yeah,
Okay, good to know.
yeah, because Identify
She-
can
she
tell
may
you the
be,
magic that's affecting it specifically.
Okay.
She could be in league with those cultists or whatever they were.
I mean,
It would make sense.
I don't know if she has been from the start, but she's obviously been working with them to further her own gains.
Mhm.
She's such a bitch.
I think she took it upon herself and probably sweet talked her way into their good graces, whether or not she was working with them to begin with. It's all just a guessing game at this point.
I'm
I mean,
assuming
they
we're
they
kind of
hunting
having.
for Artis, so
Yeah, and so is she. So it only
Yeah.
makes sense.
Why wouldn't they work together?
Which I wonder why Mistcliff.
Oonga.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah,
that
but
might be where Artis is heading.
Is that also where the Blood King is?
yes, they're both over there.
So
Tomoa-chan, I believe, is in the Mistcliffs.
And it's also where we need to go to find more on Omu.
Yeah.
So we're gonna we have to the
Let's go get
orchid.
let's go
Yes,
get
it's
your
Oolonga.
ledger, and
Well,
then I
let's
think we're running out
swing.
of daylight.
Yeah. Well, what time is it right now?
It's probably like 10 after. Well, it's like 4:15 probably now.
Okay, so we've still got a bit of
Still
time.
tons of time.
I just want to make
Um,
a quick stop at the
Yeah, yeah.
The
Yeah.
temple.
Let's
I mean,
at the
you guys can say
temple.
that you were walking and talking. You're not just standing outside of Tuttle
Yeah.
Toms talking.
Yeah.
I'd like to run over to the Golden Throne and see if they have some spells to buy. If that's just me.
Why don't we plan to do that tomorrow?
We always plan to do things,
Okay,
and
well,
then
yeah, but tonight I think is probably it's too.
well, we've got 4 hours
Is-
basically, 4.5 hours.
Isn't
before
curfew at 6?
No.
9.
Oh,
Curfew's at 9.
oh.
So
Okay.
I guess my question, I was gonna, since then we don't have to necessarily swing back this way.
All right, then sure.
I mean,
But
I'm planning on going to the jewel market at some point while we're here, so
okay, I could do
I'll
it
be
then.
back up north in the city at some point anyway.
I think we have about 2 to 3 days of actual sitting around doing nothing, which I've made a small list of stuff I want to do.
That's what we think, but we also were at Firefinger and happened to be in the port now, so things you know, we thought today would be just a gathering day, and we ended up having to go out and destroy a vampire thrall.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Best laid
Who
plans.
knows what the future holds?
You're right. Yeah, but at
Or
the same
like
time,
torturing you.
you know, I feel like I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
I was under the impression it was
Why not?
But
Why don't you
we can
spend
do it
tonight
tomorrow.
going over the book, Archie, and then
Okay.
we can go to Golden Throne.
yeah, we have to look at the mace too. That looks like a
fancy.
fancy.
Okay.
And I keep hearing about this bathhouse.
We definitely need to figure out the mace before we go to the bathhouse. Could come in use.
Figure it out at
We,
the bathhouse.
we can figure out the mace over dinner before we hit
The bathhouse will be a dungeon.
No question.
Well,
More of a fungin, but yeah.
funny enough, it does have a secret passage that we went through from it.
It's a +3 mace that only works when you're standing in water.
I take it.
Specifically bathwater.
Bathwater,
damn
yes.
It takes you about 15 minutes to get from Tuttle Tomes up to the Temple of Severus, so it's about 4:30 now. You do know, just FYI, in case this would alter your plans anyways, even though curfew's not till 9, most businesses are going to be closing up shop at sundown, and definitely Golden Throne's probably going to be not available after, like, end of day anyways. So by the time you're done, depending on how long this takes, you may not have enough time anyways to do what you want to do.
My question initially, until everybody jumped on and said no, was should I do it while everybody else is at Severus, because nobody else has any interest in going to the throne for any other reason.
Well, don't you want to go to Golden Throne for the library anyways to research a bunch of stuff?
Well, I wouldn't. The library stays open later, so that isn't a time thing.
Or does it? That can be done tomorrow.
But yeah, no, it's fine. It's just that was one of the reasons I was asking, was because I was like, well, it's
Unless
probably
there's
gonna
huge
close.
changes here, I think this is going to be a quick trip. Drop some donations off.
Well, you.
I mean, hopefully.
You approach the Temple of Severus, and you see the temple door has a large claw image, kind of like burned into it.
Is that the Atapka symbol? Or?
No, it's the one that was on the. Oh my god.
The inn?
The inn. Yeah.
Thundering Lizard.
Thank you.
You guys have a key for this place. The door is locked when you go up to it. There's a knocker, but you also have a key.
I
But
don't think anybody
nobody
knows. I
knows.
have the key.
That's true actually. Yeah.
nobody in the party knows he has the key.
So I guess you knock.
So we know.
Or do you? Dun dun dun.
I would let Blackwind knock.
Inside check.
Knock,
I'm
knock.
alien.
That's
Yeah,
passive.
just
you
standing.
would
Why are you letting me not? No, this whole,
You
this
just
whole
at the
thing is
back
fishy.
Stroking your mustache.
You bang on the large doors of the dilapidated temple. Takes a little bit of time, but a few minutes goes by, and then the door, the latch clicks, and the large door is pulled open. You see a middle-aged man, kind of balding. I've not seen this man before. He looks like he is a, maybe a, like, Luskan. Very pale, kind of piercing, like, ice blue eyes. He has a little bit of wispy, what may have been blonde hair, but is streaked with gray now, on his balding head. He's a bit overweight, but you can tell that he's also looks like he's a fairly strong guy as well. He's got a bit of like a beer belly. He's wearing kind of like red and yellow, like Chelton style clothing, with kind of like knee-high leather boots. He's got a on his waist. He's got a belt upon which there's several small, what looks like pouches and hooks. On one of the hooks hangs. It almost looks like a sickle, like for like harvesting wheat. And he has on his kind of like round face, he kind of like gives you a bit of a, not really a smile, just kind of like a neutral kind of like look as he opens the door. You can see that he has what looks to be like a vertical scar that kind of runs on his like left cheek from the corner of his mouth all the way back to like almost the back of his jaw, like this horizontal scar. Like maybe he was like caught with a knife at one point.
I'm picturing a like a Kultiran male, like kind of like those kind of thicker, heavier set, but like grizzled sort of
Yeah.
humans. Yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of like glances you up and down. He's like, "Yeah, what you want?"
Here to visit with, I think her name was Bernadette, and check on
Annette.
Annette, was it? Okay, I couldn't remember. It's been a while. So
I assume Blackwind can remember.
that was like just an extra letter, really.
Yeah.
A couple extra letters, but
A few extra letters. Yeah. And he's like,
The symbol of Malar is the one that's on the door.
we're just
Sorry.
curious on how they're doing. I see these things have been probably a little exciting, but
he kind of like leans over slightly and looks back at the party assembled kind of on the steps. And
if you're curious, just tell her it's Blackwind and the Blade Fangs.
I just imagine
God damn
Blackwind
it.
just that pause actually is there, and the
Yeah.
Blade Fangs,
Blade
I guess.
Fangs.
It just sounds. Eye roll.
He kind of like looks you up and down again. He's like, "Yeah, okay, come on." He turns around and leaves the door kind of ajar and just walks into the. The temple looks pretty good, clean, well arranged. There's some incense burning, and he's like, "Sorry, we don't get a lot of visitors this time of night."
We've been away for a while, but
And he just kind of grunts. He's like, "Yeah, take a seat. I'll fetch you that."
Is Eshik still here?
Kind of glances back. He's like, "Yeah." Starts walking up the stairs.
Doing his usuals.
He disappears from view, leaving you alone. You also notice that there's like some fresh carpets that are laid out that kind of mute your footsteps a bit. Before it was very echoey and cavernous in here, but there's like this large, like, it's not like fancy, but this large like runner kind of down the center, and just off to the sides there's a couple extra pieces of furniture and tables and things that weren't there before, and just generally it's a bit brighter than it was with the lamps
Is that
burning.
where the
and things.
donation box is?
Yeah, there is a donation box. That's kind of at the end of the pews. There's a lock on it.
I'll put
But
50,
there's a slot in the top. So
yeah, I'll put 50 gold in there.
50. Holy.
I gotta drop off some somewhere.
Well, if you want
Blackman, you know that's not the bank, right?
Yeah. I know.
Just remember, if you want to tie the 100, you can get 30 days of +1 to perception investigation checks by getting the Blessing of Severus. So if you're putting 50 in, if you put 100 in, you can get the blessing.
Sure.
I'm just pointing that out there because in case you probably forgot that was a thing. So
I was
trying to upsell.
So. 100. So yeah, I'll put 100 in.
Yeah. So you get not permanent, but you get a +1 to all perception, including passive, +1 to all perception and investigation checks that last 30 days or until you get another blessing that would override it from a different temple.
Forgot about the blessings.
I was gonna ask about all of them again and like have it like some kind of like list of it.
So yeah, if you drop 100 gold in there, you suddenly the shadows become slightly sharper in the corners of the room. You pick up on little details like this carpet you didn't see before. A few moments later, a woman comes down the stairs. You don't recognize her either. She also looks like she's Luskin. She looks like she's maybe in her like 30s. She doesn't look old. Luskin human woman. She also has kind of like blonde hair, piercing blue eyes, pretty plain features. No real like standout like scars or anything like that. She's in kind of these kind of gray robes, like looks similar to what you've seen Annette wear before. She kind of like makes her way down the stairs. She kind of nods to you all, and she's like, doesn't move to like go towards you or talk to you. Just kind of gets to the bottom of the stairs and just like heads like towards like the altar at the front. And as she does so, she stops at one of the tables and picks up some like a long stick or whatever and kind of like strikes it, and then like starts walking around just kind of like lighting candles up near the altar. Just kind of gives you a smile and a nod.
I kind of like quietly just say to the group, this seems kind of weird, right? Like a bunch of shit in the city's gotten worse, but the one temple that everybody disowned and steered clear of is, prospering.
I guess. I don't know. And
Well,
to be honest, I don't really know what this place is, but
Blackwind has donated a significant amount of gold to here.
I can't remember what my last donation was, but I think it was 25.
I think it was like 25. I think last time.
Yeah,
We've
which
also been gone for a month and a half.
yeah. Well, I guess Annette will fill us in. Hopefully, see what's going on.
I was watching this person with my newfound.
Of the foreigners we've noticed in the port, have we noticed Luskin as like standing? There's not like just
not really, not
no
significant.
more.
I mean, not
Okay.
yeah, not a huge amount. No.
Sure.
There might be some amongst like the order. Probably there was some because they're from the north.
I know that some of the money went to hire guards or protection. I know they were doing that, I do believe. And plus, actually, I do believe the Yetepka Society was also watching over this area. But, so, be interesting to see what's happening.
A couple minutes later, you see that balding man return, followed by Annette. You recognize her. She looks pretty much as she did before, very young, maybe not even 20 at this point. Chelton woman, in kind of the gray silvery robes that she was wearing last time you saw her, and she kind of waves as she comes down the stairs and kind of puts her hand on the guy's shoulder as she reaches the bottom of the stairs, and he kind of like leans down because he's probably a good foot and a half taller than her. Kind of like leans down. And she kind of like whispers something in his ear, and he kind of nods, and he's like, and he just kind of grunts. He's like, "Yeah, sure." And he kind of wanders over. As he wanders like south, like she kind of comes to approach you. He kind of like wanders south, walks up to the donation box and just kind of like thumps it with his hand. And hears a jingle, and he kind of like looks over at you guys and kind of nods and keeps walking back down towards where the door was, or where you guys came in. And Annette approaches you. She's like, "Welcome back. You're back. Not the best of times. But I'm always glad to see your face." And she, looks you all over. Kind of glances up at the woman at the altar. She's like, "Got a couple new members, as you must have noticed. Yeah, I'm glad to see you. Welcome back."
And you're doing well, it seems.
As well as can be. Grandfather has taken a bit of a turn. He just seems frailer and weaker than he was. He hasn't awoken. There's been no real progress. Healers haven't been able to do anything but make him comfortable. I don't. At this point, I've mostly just given up hope. I don't imagine he'll last. Well, he probably won't see the end of the season if his condition doesn't improve. He's been losing weight. We try to keep his strength up, but that's all we can do just to kind of ease his condition. Anyways.
Hi. Sorry to. I'm Quillen. I'm new. Does he have like some kind of like disease or something, or?
No. Sadly, he was.
Oh.
He was accosted by.
Oh.
The fish dudes.
The Sekula worshippers.
The Sekula.
Oh.
Yeah,
and
suffered a severe trauma to his head and hasn't awoken since.
That guy was actually the one that we found out saved him. Well, saved him from certain death.
Yeah, that's right.
Well. I mean, I don't know if. I don't know if I can help, but I could try.
She shrugs. She's like, if you think you can do something, you're welcome to try.
Yeah, these two new members, we'd introduce you. You and Donna Quinn. They both have much more healing abilities than we've had previously.
Donna Quinn, can you make a medicine or religion check? Hearing about his condition?
I guess, would I be able to help him with what we know?
Oh,
I hope I would be able to help him.
Helping the party, one thing. Helping complete strangers, different.
I was wondering if I could assist him with what we knew. And
no, it's not a collaborative. I just wanted to know if Sean picked up on anything, but he did not.
Shiny object.
Yeah, she turns, she points to the woman. She's like, that there is Essam, and she points to the man that's kind of down near the door where you guys came in. He's like, and that's Balder. They both hail from the north of in the Sword Coast, I hear. North of
Balder, like
Neverwinter.
like the gate.
She kind of like looks at you. But oh no, like the city, no. She's like, Baldir.
Have they been with you long?
They arrived. Oh, she turns. She's like, Assam. And the woman looks up. She's like, yes, dear. She's like, when did you arrive again? A month now? And she nods. She's like, oh, next. Yeah, it'll be a month in about 3 days. Like, yeah, they came in on a ship. Essam is a cleric of Severus, from the Sword Coast. And she points. It's like, Baldir is her brother. He not a cleric, but. And she looks at you, Blackwind. She's like, I thought it would be helpful to have a bit more muscle around here. So they've been helping out.
Why is that thought?
She's like, and Eshik, well, Eshik is Eshik. He's having issues. He's always had issues, but you know how he can get.
Strange visions?
Well, just general confusion. He hears and sees things that he can't explain. He can't. Who knows if it's visions or simply his mind playing tricks on him. He's always been like that though. But
we haven't gone and looked at Father Ntambe, have we? We're just.
You're just in the main room right now.
Because if anything, I would like to examine him, and I would also like to enhance the ability to to perceive or investigate with a spell. I have enhance ability. So.
Yeah, because Colin
Sure.
was saying he'd like to take a look at him.
Yeah.
If she's up for it, since
Sure.
he has some
Yeah.
abilities in that regard.
She's like, you have new friends. If they're willing to help, if anybody, certainly. We've had a lot of healers and others come through, and no one's been able to help. But if you think you can do something different, and
I guess that it couldn't hurt to try. I mean, I've had a knack for a while of helping people that are sick, but if this is more of a, you know, he's just having trouble recovering from an attack, I don't know, but I'm willing to try.
like, well, certainly come with me. I'm sure that your presence will be a comfort to him, even if you aren't able to help him. Come. And she kind of turns. She's like, Assam, Balder, we're going up to see grandfather. And they both kind of just nod. And she leads you up to the room. That's a little bit different. Just a bit more cozy, I guess. Grandfather Zatembe is very much like, he looks way worse than last time you saw him. Like, he is like very thin, very weak looking. Breathes, his breath comes in very shallow, kind of like labored. Yeah, his cheeks are kind of sunken a bit, and he's definitely kind of looks very, very thin and skeletal and weak. And she nods. She's like, as I said, he's not doing well.
I can give an advantage on checks to any one specific stat, so I'm guessing I'll probably put the wisdom on Donna Queen, how he knows medicine. I think that's a good place to start anyways.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so you cast Enhance ability for, like, the Owl's Wisdom on Donoquin?
Yeah.
If Donoquin wants to examine.
Yeah, I can definitely answer.
The spell is Enhance ability. It used to be a separate spell called Owl's Wisdom. I always just call it that.
They're all bundled together.
Actually, that part of it is called Owl's Wisdom.
Oh, is it? It's still called that?
Yeah, they bundled all those individual ones into one cast.
Yeah,
but
they're
you
not
just
6 different spells now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it lasts for an hour as long as Blackwind is concentrating, and you have advantage on Wisdom checks.
Yeah, it should do it automatically, I think.
Oh
Can I
yeah,
also
it did.
offer guidance?
Yeah, you can guide him as well if you like. An extra D4, and then
Are
yeah,
you
if you
proficient in medicine as well? No.
Sean, Donoquin's the only one that knows anything.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Sometimes, yeah.
well
it comes and goes.
with advantage, a plus D4 and a plus 6, you're the best bet out of the party to examine him if you want to.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I might as well. So do I have to click advantage on stuff myself?
No, it
shouldn't
should
have
do it
to.
automatically when you roll the Wisdom check.
The wisdom.
Well, the medicine.
check.
It's a medicine check, but it should.
Well, it's the same thing. But
Yeah.
I haven't used this for a while. Nice!
And a D4.
Natural
And a
20. And
Roll
a
a 4, you'll hit 30.
He could know everything there is about Father Ntumbe.
A 1. 27. Sorry, the DC was 28 to
Oh,
It was 28.
yeah, Donoquin, you examine him thoroughly, and you looking at him, he's definitely got some very you obviously he's physically healed, where his but you can tell he suffered an extreme kind of like fracture to the back of his head, to his skull, which caused permanent injury, which is hence why he hasn't woken up since the attack. Healing hit points is not enough to actually heal the effects of this. You could dump as much cure wounds or whatever into him as you want. It's not going to bring him back. But with a 27, you can't do it, but you're aware of, you may not even be 100% sure if even your master can do this. But there is a very powerful spell that some very powerful clerics and druids have access to, called Regenerate. It's a level 7 transmutation spell. That could heal him physically. He may still have permanent memory loss, but it would physically heal his brain injury, and probably wake him up. But that would be an extremely rare and powerful spell that you're not the only person you could even think that could possibly cast that is maybe your master, but you've never actually seen him cast something probably that powerful, so he may not even be able to do it. Which would also explain why the clerics in town here from the other temples, if they can't cast that high level of magic, they're not going to be able to do anything. This injury is beyond even like greater restoration probably, to fully heal. Especially in his state, even the shock of healing it could, given how old this man is, without like that powerful magic, he may not even survive the attempt. But that's the only thing you can think of that could bring him back from this severe of an injury to the brain.
do you explain any of that, John?
I do explain
Okay.
some of it as I'm
Okay.
learning it and stuff. I do, yes.
Right. Yeah, I'll say like I said, certainly doesn't seem like this is gonna do anything, but let's go for it. I will place my hands on either side of his head, and I will lay on hands for 10 points.
Okay.
Pickle fight.
I mean, a little bit of color comes back, and maybe you see like a couple like bed sores on his arm or whatever, kind of like heal up, but otherwise. there's no change in his condition.
That noise happens.
Boing.
And I'll look back at Annette and say, sorry.
Annette nods. She's like,
But we do have an idea of what it would take,
Yeah.
if possible, to find.
she's like, well,
But
I appreciate you trying. It's, as I said, I've kind of come to terms with. I probably won't be able to see him again. If this magic is as rare, as powerful as you say, the chances of finding something like that in the time we have left, well, I won't hold out much hope.
in this movie. Well, either way, we'll see what we can find for him. Perhaps something will get kicked up in the dust.
Kicked up in the dust. A regenerate spell kicked up in the dust.
Just poof,
Please
there's
don't
one
say
right on the
kicked.
floor.
Grandfather's a tembe.
It's written on the carpet.
Way to be an optimist, Buckley.
It's like the carpet itself is the scroll of regeneration.
What are the chances? All right.
Yeah, just I came in to visit. I wasn't sure how he'd be doing, but he's still hanging in there, which is quite amazed. I'm not sure if we have some more information, but not much more about Orlanga and heading into that. But kind of give her the quick bullet point on just that situation, but
She nods. She's like, well, maybe
It's our next destination.
maybe this oracle or this guardian can do something that maybe I don't know. Maybe there's hope yet, but we'll see.
okay. Well, for now, I think we'll probably head out. But basically, it's a personal. How are you guys holding up? So,
As
Let's
well
see.
as can be. It's nice to have a few more faces around here to just bring some life back into the place.
The temple's looking good.
It's just like, yeah, it's coming along. If only we could get a few more worshippers. But she kind of like glances at the symbol of the holy symbol of Severus. It's kind of like around Father Zatembe's neck. She's like, but well, I don't know. It's hard to get more support for an absent god. Well, anyways, let me or SM know if there's now that she's here, we can offer some of the services we had previously that grandfather used to offer. So if you need anything from her, as far as those basic services, let her know. I don't know. I'm sure that she'll do her best to help you. I.e., the spellcasting services are now back available at the temple here. She can cast those. I think I already gave them to you a while ago, but
Yeah.
she can cast Cure Wounds, Comprehend Language, Identify, not super useful, Augury, Zone of Truth, Non-Detection, and Tongues for various costs. So if you ever need those cast, she can cast those for you. And then, of course, the Tithe.
The blessing you.
I feel slightly more aware.
Yep.
I wrote the start date on my character special stuff or whatever. +1 perception, investigation, 13th of Myrtle for 30 days.
Excellent.
I don't know if you have it marked on the map or the calendar, but Or if I can mark it.
Sorry, just making a note. I will mark it on the calendar. Just a reminder. So it's the 13th, so you put it on where?
It's on the front of my character page. It's actually on special defenses.
Right, so 30 days is 23rd, Kythorn the 3rd, so 13th of Kythorn. Well, 14th of Kythorn is when it expires, right?
Is it? Yeah. Is it control or shift to do that +1 thing?
Control.
And scroll
Does
down.
it work on skills?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think so.
Maybe? No, it does not.
No, it does not.
Ah, that sucks. It worked on passive.
But you
perception.
could add a miscellaneous.
Yeah, just add a miscellaneous
That's
+1.
miscellaneous.
Just use the little lasso or the little magnifying glass next to the skill. You can add a
You don't
+1.
even have to do that. Just miscellaneous category.
Yeah, there's a line that says miscellaneous. I think. And that.
I have a positive bonus for investigating.
Woot. All right. Anything else you want to do here?
No, I mean this was short and quick. I wanted to make a donation quick and just check in.
Sounds good. Well, they thank you immensely for the very generous donation this time as well. That'll go a long ways to maybe they can actually start repairing some of the exterior, hire some masons to fix up some of the walls and shit. You know, if only Baz was here. He loved masonry.
It was his number one interest.
Masonry
say he
and
loves
Severus.
tradesmen.
But yeah, they would thank you. And probably around 5, you find yourself back out in the street.
Heading to the harbor. Back to the harbor master.
To the herder.
Okay, probably around 5:15 or so. It's easier going downstairs than going up. So probably around 5:15, you find yourself back at the harbor master.
Give me my book.
It's burned to the ground. No, there is Zindar is there. He hands you the bloody ledger back. And he says, "This will go a long way. I will make good use of this over the coming days."
Good.
Did you have any success with Clevin?
Yeah. We talked to him. He's gonna put in a thing with Zanthi. Get us a meeting. Let us know. Fill Ren in.
Wonderful. So yes, I'm sure Zanthi will have some ideas on how to proceed, and we can move quickly on this, as quickly as we can anyways. Well, I will let you go about your business, whatever you have left here, and we'll be in touch. Where are you staying? At the Lizard again?
Thunder.
Lizard. Mm-hmm.
So perfect.
Do any of your connections know any powerful healing, like such as a regeneration, or do you know? Like, I'm assuming he knows a lot of people, but if you have,
he's like, yeah, you'd have to ask around at the temples, I would assume, for that kind of thing.
I assume that they probably don't have a lot, but I knew it was a long shot, but I thought I'd ask.
All right. Having retrieved the ledger, what is the plan? It's 5:15 roughly. You've got about an hour of daylight, hour and 15 or so of daylight.
Back to the Lizard for dinner. Identify the mace and then bathhouse. Oh, we're doing bathhouse before dinner?
What if they're closed?
Okay.
Let's just swim across the harbor. It'll save us time.
I don't think we have ever been in this.
Yeah,
area.
we have.
Have we?
That's where I bought my canoe.
Ah.
No, it isn't.
Have we been in the lighthouse? So.
The warehouse.
It was the dry dock. That's the warehouse. We've not been in the warehouse district. I don't think. You're correct.
No reason to.
Not yet, anyway.
We burned down a ship in the harbor ward, though.
No, that was in the Shriek Anchorage.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's right.
you guys are heading all the way back to the Thundering Lizard first?
Yeah, back down south, I think.
Okay. Well, nothing much occurs on the way south. It probably takes you, by the time you get through the areas around the Grand Souk, which is still quite busy with people and everything, although they're starting to clear out a little bit out of the souk itself. By the time you make it all the way back there, it's probably, I don't know, like 5, like maybe closer to 6. And you find yourself back in the Thundering Lizard. You can, grab some dinner, take a short rest, take an hour here, or identify the mace and such.
What do we say the curfew is? You said 9 o'clock?
9. So I think
Yeah.
we're gonna do bathhouse first, then come back and take the rest. I think was the plan.
Okay, so you're not stopping it, or you're just carrying on then from Thundering Lizard? You're not stopping here?
I guess so.
I think
I mean,
so.
is there
I
a
get,
reason?
Okay,
Unless
here's the
anybody
question.
objects.
And if that's the case, then maybe we wouldn't have gone south. Maybe we would have,
We would have gone along the top.
yeah, gone over this way, and then,
Yeah.
Well, it works.
Along-
You just have to do it over the miscellaneous section of the skills.
Alright,
It is.
so you make your way past the fish market, all the way over to the bathhouse.
Yeah.
So, probably is more like quarter after 6 by the time you get to the bathhouse. It's a little bit further than the Lizard was. Fish market is pretty much done for the day. A lot of boats are coming in the harbor. You'll notice that with their catches and everything. So there's a lot of activity bustling around that southern harbor part. A lot of people moving and hauling things there. But you make your way down, find yourself outside of the bathhouse.
go inside.
Yeah. You donate when you
I'll
go
get
in.
ready, Quillen.
How much do I donate?
Oh, depends on what you want to do. It would be.
I'm trying to figure out where I put that.
We'll see who finds it
It's in
first.
the note for the public bathhouse.
Oh, is
There's
it?
no charge, but bathers are requested to leave a donation to the Temple of Sune befitting their station in life. Because Chultans are justifiably proud of the facility, even the poorest try to leave at least a copper piece in the giant clamshell by the entrance. Many independent masseurs and masseuses are on hand to massage weary muscles. These services cost on average of 1 gold piece.
There it is.
All right. I'll donate.
Here we go. If you want just a bath, 1 silver. The massage gives for 1 gold gives 24 hours temporary hit points for either. If 1 silver, it's 1d6 temporary. If it's a massage, it's 1d10.
I want a massage.
I already got 10 pin points, so I'm just gonna have a bath.
Yeah, they won't stack with the 10 hit points you currently have. But
No, I know.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fine.
gonna have a massage actually.
I got 9 temporary hit points, so the chances of getting more than that are quite some.
almost impossible. Well, there's a 10% chance you gain 10.
Yeah.
For a
Slim
gold.
chance, impossible.
Okay. Well, whoever
I like
wants to partake, so either a silver or a gold, it gives you either a d6 or a d10
Yeah, go for
of temporary hit points by spending the time here. I will also count as a short rest having a here at the bathhouse. The bathhouse is pretty busy. It's open still. There's no sign of any of the troubles you had in the past. There is guards here. Those Sune guards of the Ruby Rose are standing guard. Bit more of them than last time, but other than that, there's not a lot going on. You don't see anybody notable at the bathhouse that you would pick out as someone you've encountered before, as an important person. It's just general merchants and workers and things, people of all stations kind of mingling in the bathhouse. So subtract the money, and who wants to... Here, I'll apply a short rest. Who... Well, I'll just run down in the combat tracker. So, Aelin, roll your die for your temper points. Whichever one. Masseuse is D10.
Yep.
Two.
Balls.
So,
Well, better than nothing. That's not what I'm here for.
so this place it just has like these big pools of hot water all the time.
Yeah.
Is this like over a volcano? I mean, like I've seen hot spring. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Well done.
I've been to like a hot spring before, but that's like way secluded and kind of smelled like shit. This is amazing. This is like and it's just here all the time. Wow. No wonder people like to live here.
This is one of the few things that are good about this place.
Archie, are you masseusing?
I'm masseusing.
Masseusing.
9, nice.
9.
I need to boost that temp.
Jonah, are you bathing or masseusing? Either way, you could get more than the 4 attempt you have now.
I am going to stay in my gear.
Okay. So
So none.
Neither? Okay.
Quillen would probably need would ask for like just an extra hand with getting his armor off.
I would, instead of putting a few items in the quote-unquote lockers, if Jonah is... I'm going to put a few items in the bag of holding instead. Specifically, the important things like the ledger. I trust the much more with you than in a random locked thing. So yeah, I'll leave a couple just while we're in here.
Corey has somebody steal all of our equipment. We're back to nothing.
You know what?
It could happen. Donaquin, are you just bathing, or do you want to masseuse?
Bathing is fine.
It's hard to massage a turtle with a giant shell anyway.
Make
So.
sure you massage the
Hand
shell.
and foot massage.
You really get the neck.
So roll
Really
a
work that
d6. Just bathing in these pools gives you a d6. Nice, you guys are rolling really well. All right. They last for 24 hours. So yeah, you spend at least an hour here, if not longer. So it'd be at minimum, it's going to be like 7. It's going to be dark and be like 7 something by the time you finish here. How late do you stay, knowing that it's probably about a 20 minutes back to the inn? Do you hang out just an hour and then give yourself plenty of time? Do you wait till like 8:30 and then head back? What do you do?
I'm just an hour soaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just an hour is probably fine. I think.
Okay.
An hour? It's quite a while.
All right.
Yeah. Quillen is very happy.
When we got in, I would have inquired to see if the masseuse that I had previously was still available, and I would have paid an extra gold.
Sure.
For that request.
Let's see. I'll give her a.
Give her a ring.
I'll give her a. Yes, she's available.
I would be much less talkative this time, but
Hi, Amanda.
I would also tip her 5 gold before we leave.
Good stuff.
Was she the one who couldn't talk?
Yeah.
Well, she's equally as silent.
It's a dream.
All right.
I just specifically with massages.
Right.
Specifically with massages.
I think we had this conversation the first time.
Dream.
All right. Well, as you guys relax, soak in some water while most of you relax, Jonah stands guard.
He just drinks a lot more coffee.
Even so, you'd still get a rest in at least as you here for an hour waiting. Why don't we take a break? when we come back, we can see what else may happen here in the port and what your next move is. So why don't we say we'll come back at like 7, like 25, roughly?
I say 7:30. So we still have to make dinner and stuff.
Sure.
Well, I'm gonna have to put it in the oven. It's gonna take longer, so it's fine.
Well, I preheated it.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Wow, look at that. Okay,
Okay.
well, we will be back in a little bit.